Hi, I'm Arthur Moats, and I'm here to talk to you about my book, The Moats Theory of Life, and the amazing holiday deal we have going on right now. If you purchase a hardback book, you will receive a paperback copy half off as part of our holiday bundle. This book makes for a great gift for yourself or others and will leave you feeling inspired and impactful. So go to moatstheory.com right now and get your copy so you can start living a more fulfilled life. What's up? It's the Arthur Moats Experience with Deke. I'm Arthur Moats, and that's my main man, Deke.
What's up, bro?
Come on, baby. You already know what it is. Another episode brought to you by DRAFTKINGS Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook and app. Deke, not only is it safe, but it is secure, and most importantly, baby, it is reliable. And for all the first-time users out there, if you use the promo code MOATS, you will receive up to $1,000 in deposit bonus money. So, Deke, tell these people to stop wasting time.
The time is now. It really is. It's the most valuable thing we have.
Exactly. So stop wasting it. Download the app, use the promo code, and get an opportunity to make a little money. My friend, my pal.
What's up, dude?
Shout out to the new hat, man. I'm digging this new Pittsburgh sports just revamping of apparel that you've brought out these last couple of podcasts. I was digging the pins, Scully last time.
Yeah.
This time you already heard when you came out. I was like, yo, that's a clean hat, man. I like this new. You're like, yo, I told you I did something.
I told you.
I'm liking it.
Bought a few new hats.
I mean, low key, I feel like you got a whole new fit. I see the No Lag hoodie. Shout out to No Lag. Yes, indeed. I love the vest. Got the Nike shorts. I mean, the hat. I mean, you blacked out. You look good.
Thanks, man.
And you got the Jordan on the feet. You look good.
Thanks,
I don't know what's gotten into you since the season's ended, but man, you've taken your appearance, you've taken your attire to the next level, and I am digging it, baby. Yes, I am.
Thanks, man. Much appreciation.
Looks really good, man. Looks really good. But how was your weekend, though? Did you enjoy the sports this weekend? Because we had a lot going on this weekend, man. Let's see. We had big time moves with the Steelers in terms of some of their organizational hiring and things like that.
Yeah.
Obviously, we had Pens action this weekend as well. Excited about that. And then we had NFL Playoffs Divisional Round. Whew.
Dude, can I be real, man?
I
was depressed. Like, it was nice because I made it a point, especially on Sunday, to where maybe even Saturday. I can't even remember what I did Saturday, but Sunday I was like, I'm not touching anything.
Okay.
I'm just relaxing.
Yeah.
Had the fire going.
Ooh, okay, set the mood.
I just need a day off. So that's what I did. But at the same time, I was really depressed this weekend, dude.
Man.
I really was. Now, as much as,
and I could understand why. I could definitely understand why.
dude, no, it was bad, man. It's because as much as, I don't know, with the podcast, you got to think it's really Steelers based, it's really Pittsburgh based.
Yes,
you know
true.
what I mean?
Until like the off season hits, then we are able to like branch out a little bit.
And
more.
that's natural, just because of who we are. I'm a big Pittsburgh fan, grew up here, and everything. You played for the Steelers, and there's been points throughout all this. I think there are times where we're like, let's open it up to more just NFL and general content and everything. I think this season, I've really just doubled down, dude. I just don't care about the rest of the league at this point. I really don't. I think it took me up to this weekend to realize now that we don't have Steelers anymore.
That's what it was?
I'm just like, fuck these other teams, dude. I really don't care. I really don't. So that's what my feeling was.
I could dig it. Well, obviously the feelings were a lot different for me. I had stakes in a couple of these games, not only financially, but personally from organizations that I had my blood, sweat, and tears in, and then also guys that I played collegiately with had action as well this weekend, man.
Who? I mean, dude's up at Buffalo.
We have 4 guys this weekend. Right? We got 4 guys this weekend. 4 guys going into the NFC champ, or 4 guys heading into the championship rounds as well. We got 3 offensive linemen with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Really?
Yeah, they're starting right guard. He actually just had his first start for them. Aaron Stinney, he's a JMU guy. Josh Wells has been down there all year, started a little bit for them as well. And then they had just signed Earl Watford, another JMU guy. They signed him, I believe it was 2 weeks ago, so he's been on their roster as well. But these are all active roster guys, and you already mentioned Dean Marlowe up in Buffalo. So yeah, man, for me, I was like, I'm already going to enjoy these games because my JMU guys are here, which is why I got my JMU on, because I'm like, y'all all won. We're all advancing. Y'all eat, we eat, make the brand look good. I love seeing that. But then obviously, you know, the whole Buffalo connection, me being a former Buffalo Bill and things like that, man. So it was definitely good to see that game as well. And we'll deep dive into that later on. But, you know, for me, I was definitely enjoying those two things. And then, as I told you already off the mic, the financial interest I had, man, you know how we do. I always get up here, I preach DraftKings, and I feel like...
I was going to say, through DraftKings, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's the only way to do it. That's the only way I'm doing it, baby. So, of course, I always talk about, man, these are the different matches I like, parlays and such. This weekend, man, I hit on a trifecta. I did. I had Bills. Took a money line to beat the Ravens. Beautiful odds on that. Then from there, I took the Pens. Yes, we dabbling in the hockey, right? I can't talk hockey and not let my money back it up. So I took Pens money line for their Sunday opener against the Caps, right?
You see I dabbled that first game, huh?
I did.
You retweeted it.
I did. And you know what? That's what inspired me to put the money down the next time. Absolutely. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to take a money line because I think they had the spread set at like 3. No, the spread was at 1.5, but the over under for total goals was 6.5. I'm like, I don't really like the goals. I think they win, but I don't know how close it's going to be because they've been inconsistent a little bit early on. Now, they're definitely playing a lot better these past 2 games, but they were a little bit inconsistent. So I'm like, let's just be safe and just say they're going to win. And then the third part of this bet, the trifecta of my parlay, Browns plus 9.5. Y'all heard my score prediction. I kept thinking about it. I'm just like, and this is the thing, right?
I thought whenever you
27-13.
I know whenever you told me you took the Browns in that spread, I was like, he was just messing with me with that 27-13 then for sure.
So remember we were joking about the whole 27-13. Yeah. But the spread was set at 9.5, meaning the Chiefs would have had to have won by 10 points. And to me, I just kept thinking, I'm like, bro, Mahomes, they talked about it even as the broadcast started, right? Mahomes hasn't played in 21 days. You think about how much time he's had off. And I'm just like, I know the Browns, they're hot right now. They're playing good ball. They can control the clock. And I didn't even have a clue that the Mahomes injury would happen. And obviously that changed the things a lot. But even still, the Browns were doing some really positive things. So the whole time I'm sitting here like, bro, I think it's going to work. And then it almost turned out into them actually almost winning the game, which I was like, whoa. But either way, they didn't lose by more than 10 points, so my trifecta, my parlay was hit. So shout out to DraftKings for that, but more importantly, shout out to my pockets. So yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed that, man. It was very, very pleasant for me, man.
That's good, dude.
But you know what? Since we got to start this off somewhere, man, figure we will start with the hockey portion of it, right? Get that out the way because I thoroughly enjoyed it. That started the week off right for me. Obviously, you know, we had the Bills, that the game was Saturday, but for me, that Sunday, it just felt, it's something about Sunday football. Sunday sports, it just feels right. So that's why I want to start with Sunday.
What was a good time slot? 1 o'clock because the football game.
Yeah, noon. Yeah,
is that what it was?
Yeah.
Well, I just exposed myself because I was.
Bro.
No, because I was gonna say this, dude. I'm a fraud already because.
Oh no!
How much have I watched since that first game? You think?
No! How much?
Take a guess.
Probably 2 periods.
Probably 5 minutes. It was the second game, the Flyers game.
Yeah, the Friday night one. Yes.
I realized it was on.
Yeah.
I'm up in my living room. I'm grabbing dinner.
Yeah.
I don't know what the hell was on the TV, but my dad was just laying down. I'm like, can we change this channel? Let's throw the Pens on.
Yeah.
So we do, and then 5 minutes go by. I think they were down like 2 or 3 goals. It was like 3-0.
Friday was rough. Friday was a rough game. Yeah.
And then when they scored 2 goals right off the bat, as I'm watching.
They did.
And then I just tuned out and went back downstairs and was like, you know what, I'll catch it.
And then they end up losing 5-2, so you were the jinx.
It was a good decision to do. Wow. Well, you think if I would have stayed watching, they would have came back.
They scored 2 goals as soon as you turned it on.
You're right, maybe.
That's all I'm saying, man.
Well, that's what happened. Then I went downstairs, completely forgot about it. And I was just, you know what, I'll catch up to this later. I'll catch up to this. But the games happen so quick again. Yeah. Sunday comes around, and you said it was noon?
Yeah, it started at noon, yeah.
I think I did know that, but I woke up so late, maybe at like 1 o'clock and everything.
But either way, the game, I mean, it went up to right at 3:04, like, because we were on social media kind of joking about the game going into overtime and then going into a shootout, and we're like, dang, man, the Browns, the game started 3:05. Like, we need to hurry up and wrap this up.
Yeah.
And shout out to Jake Gunsel, man. He was able to go ahead and end it for us in a timely fashion. But, yeah. But either way, though, I appreciate the transparency, though. I like this.
Oh, I was definitely going to come out and say it because there's no way I was going to be able to finagle my way through this conversation. So, yeah, and I didn't even tune into the Pens Caps. I had just no interest on Sunday. I was sleepy, and I cut up our prediction vids.
You was cooking. Absolutely.
I was cutting up our prediction vids and just never really got around to putting the Pens game on in the background. So, yeah, I came in with the Pens beanie. I watched the first game. I'm all excited and everything. And so far, that's what I'm doing right now.
I will say this.
Barely watched any hockey.
I will say this because I'm a very person that likes to do things, routinely. I like to, if this is what I'm going to do, I'm going to do it every time. And typically, right, when we have these debates, when we're talking about players and stuff, right, sometimes people will bring up just a number and you're like, yo, that's the argument. I'm like, nah, man, the stats don't always tell the story. Man, it's more minutiae, it's more details in it. I keep the same energy here because typically you could just be like, well, you just ain't watch it. You don't need all the storylines and stuff with it. But I do like the storylines because it gives us details. It gives us the understanding as to why the game wasn't watched. You know what I mean? I like the story because, like, seriously, some people be like, well, man, you just ain't watched the game. I don't care about, you hanging out with your dad, you watch your dad, you seen the five. I don't care about all that. I do. I care about all that, Deke. The same way when we talk stats and we talking players, I'm like, I want to hear more than just a number. I wanted to know, like, I want to know this. I need to hear it. I need to feel this. Same concept, man. So I appreciate you, man.
Could this be a game throughout the season?
Did he watch it or did he not?
Every podcast is just like, all right, how many Pens games have you watched? Did you watch the last Pens game?
Absolutely, man.
This could be a game. I'm trying. I'm going to try. I'm going to try.
And what I'll do is this, though. What I'll do is this, man.
But I'm going to be straight up if I don't watch it.
No. And this is the thing. What I'll start doing is this, man. I might even hold your hand and give you the hey, yo, Pens playing at this time. Send you the text. Just to give you just throw it out there, a little lifeline.
You should.
You know what I mean? But either way, I would say this, man. Friday night's game definitely wasn't as impressive. Obviously, you said they scored the 2 goals, but as a whole, man, just
was it more of the same shit?
It definitely was, man. Game? Yeah, and that's what it looked like. They ended up pulling Tristan Jarry later in the game as well because he was struggling. I think they said to that point he had allowed 6 goals and like 31 shots or something ridiculous. So they end up pulling him in that game, and then Casey DeSmith comes in and ends up finishing it out. But as a whole, they were still, like I said, they played better Friday than they did the opening night. But you could just tell the Flyers, man, they like the more physical team, the more crisp team, and they just executed better. Now, Sid, the kid, he still scored in both of those games, but he started out hot this season. And then you get the game, the big time matchup, right? You got the Pens, you got the Caps, you got Sid the Kid, you got Alex Ovechkin, Ovi. I mean, come on, baby. You talk about storylines and names. Everything was there in this matchup. And it lived up to the billing, man, from start to finish. The game was back and forth, man. Good scoring. Even when you would see times where you would think the Pens are going to fall back to what we've seen Friday from them and earlier in their first 2 games, it's like, nah, they kept responding. They kept executing well in the special teams element, right? We talked about the power plays, how they would struggle, in those first couple of games. They did a lot better with that. And for me, I'd have to tip my cap to Casey DeSmith as much as
they started him.
They did, and he played well.
What was the final score?
Final score ended up being 4-3.
Okay.
They ended up winning, like I said, in the shootout. But the thing that was impressive about Casey was this. Throughout the game, so we talked about with Jari how we felt like some of the goals, like, and we gave the analogy of the Minka Fitzpatrick. Even though your defense in front of you might have messed up, you can still make a play. Like, it's not against the rules for Minka to make an open field tackle after a blown coverage. Like, you can still do that. And we weren't getting that with Jari initially, right? In those first two games. With Casey, though, you were seeing it. Like, granted, even though he gave us some goals, you were still seeing him.
Was that more defense, those goals?
It was a mix of it. It was a mix, but as a whole, we didn't see any goals where you just were like, come on, bro. Like
that was doing? A good shot by the offense. Right. That would have been tough.
Like one Alex Ovechkin, he hits a crazy little backhand. He's just like, all right, bro, like, you're not stopping that. That's over.
Yeah.
So it looked good. But then you see him during the overtime period, right? Sudden death overtime. Clutch. Man, shut him down. And the thing that I also like was how they cut down the amount of players on the ice, too. I've noticed it before, but I've never, like, paid attention to it to that extent. And I was like, yo, this is crazy. But it made the action happen so much faster because obviously it's not as congested out there. So you see DeSmith out there doing his thing, still getting big time stops in the overtime period. And then you get the shootout. And I love the shootout because it reminds me of the Mighty Ducks, right? It reminds me of just this, okay. You got this, so you got that. So you're seeing him. All right, he takes out the first guy. He gets the second guy, third guy, fourth. You're like, oh, snap. Like, and then it's Alex Ovechkin time. You're like, oh, God. oh man, we need it. Sid the Kid had just got stopped. Malkin had just missed. We're sitting like, bruh.
What was it, 0-0? Did we score it all?
So we scored. Jake Gunsel scored.
Okay.
He was literally I think either the last guy or the fourth guy in our shootout lineup to score. So you got to realize once he scores, it's right around that same time we're looking at Ovi like, all right, now this could get interesting. But sure enough, man, the Smith great save ends it, and we're going nuts on social media. Like, yo, this is how you kick off a Sunday game. Like, and I feel like we needed that as Pittsburgh fans too, because let's be real, dating back to the Steelers' performance against the Browns in the wild card round, then from there having to see both of our division rivals advancing to the division games, and then the Pens looking bad the first 2 games of the season, getting outplayed. Man, we were all kind of on the ropes like, yo, we need something positive. We need just a glimpse of hope, anything, right? Let our stars be stars, because after Friday's game, it wasn't a conversation of our stars. The conversation was, all right, maybe it's time to start looking elsewhere. Maybe we need to start blowing this thing up, as we talked about. I laughed. I was like, man, it's crazy. These conversations sound just like the Steelers, right? But Sunday happened, changed the whole dynamic. Everybody was on a high note. So I appreciate you, Pens. As I tweeted out, I appreciate Sunday hockey, because it got me in the mood for sports for the rest of the day. And I was on one. From start to finish Sunday, I just loved it. I loved it.
When's the next game?
Next game is Tuesday, so they'll play. So tomorrow, and they'll be playing the Caps as well, because the way they're doing it, as you alluded in the first podcast, we talked about it. They're doing a bunch of 2 and 3 game series, but they'll be staying basically whoever you're playing is playing them back to back. Just so that way you cut down on the travel and stuff like that. So I like how they're very strategic. The NHL we're talking about in terms of how they structure, like I said, the divisions. You got North, South, East, and West. But more importantly, the scheduling of the games. They're going to keep these guys pretty much in the same general area while they're doing these back to back stuff like that. So like I said, it was good. It was a good start though for the weekend for the NHL guys, man.
All right, so 1 game until the next podcast. Let's see if I can do it. I'm already thinking if I got plans or something tomorrow night.
You are funny, man. I don't even know if they have like the.
Oh, they do. They got highlights on YouTube.
Oh, okay. What I was gonna ask is, you know how like with NFL, we got,
like an NHL
film, like
Game Pass,
where you could go back and watch the condensed
and honestly,
broadcast.
That would be
clutch if they did.
So yeah, what are typically the NFL games? Those are around 30 or 40 minutes whenever they condense them down.
Yeah, when they can miss it 30. Yeah.
I'm sure that'd be the same thing with NHL. How many times are the periods? Are 20 minutes?
20 minutes, 3 periods.
Oh shit, it'd be like 60 then, because that's like legit time.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
They would cut out the commercial and stuff. Yeah. Because with the NFL, in between the plays, they'll cut that out, and that's when the time's still rolling. Mm-hmm. NHL, you got the full time. Yeah. All right, so that's not a lot to ask, right?
It's not though, bro.
It's not a lot.
It's not. It's not, bro. That's all I'm saying. I think you could do it, bro.
We'll see.
I think I have faith in you. So I put it like this: I have more faith in you to watch Pens games
than I said every NFL game.
No, not even every NFL game, because I think everybody knew that was nonsense. But when you told us you was gonna watch 10 Pirates games, I have more confidence in you with the Pens than the Pirates watching 10 of those games. That's all I'm saying.
Did I say
bro.
10 or did I say everyone?
You definitely said 10. At first you said everyone. I was like, you're not watching everyone. And then you were like, all right, we'll set the over under at 10. And I think you might have got to 2.
I think 1.5.
Yeah, tops. It was bad, bro.
That was embarrassing. Because I was just at that point. I'm like, give me my damn sports back. I'll watch anything. I did watch, you know what? I did actually watch a fair amount of NBA. But you're right. Pirates, no go.
Yeah. Because, see, for me, that was when I was a sports junkie. I think I turned on, it was either Korean baseball, or that was like the only live baseball that was going to, it would happen like 2 a.m. Yeah, it was bad, bro. It was really bad.
You placed your bets on DraftKings or something?
Not back then. No. That was still a novice back then.
Okay.
That was before DraftKings came into the picture. You know, they came along, you know, as we progressed through that stage of of the 2020 year. Shout out to them, man. Hey, rather you be late to the party than not show up at all, right?
100%.
So it's all good. But it's time to talk about these Pittsburgh Steelers, baby.
We got some news.
We got some big news. So when we left you guys, we said that obviously the Steelers weren't going to retain Randy Fichtner, the current offensive coordinator, the former offensive coordinator. And we were bringing up different candidates. We talked about Doug Peterson because he was available as an offensive coordinator. We talked a reunion with Todd Haley. Those 2 guys look like the favorites, right? From Steeler Nation, at least.
We were both good with.
Yeah, we were cool with either one. And based on the views, the comments, everything that we've seen from you guys, Y'all were pretty much on board for the most part with either Doug Peterson or Haley, right?
Do you think? I thought it was
Peterson.
I thought it was mixed reaction.
I felt mixed a lot with Haley. A lot of mixed with Haley. Peterson, it was either. I felt like a good amount of people liked Peterson.
Okay.
I felt like it was very much mixed with Haley. It was very mixed with Haley. Shout out to Haley though. But in true Steelers fashion, they made a very swift decision. They made a decision that they felt was going to be best for their organization. And instead of outsourcing or instead of retrading, and we did find out information as well about a Steelers assistant that was here and left and came back, Dick LeBeau.
Yeah.
I did not know that. I'm glad to see that. But shout out to everybody that tunes in, man, because they were right on the money with that. Let us know. And it was very much true. Yes, he did. So outside of him, that hadn't been the case with any other assistants. And that stays true as the Pittsburgh Steelers have officially promoted quarterback coach Matt Canada to be offensive coordinator of the Pittsburgh Steelers for the 2021 season. So first off, shout out to Matt Canada. This is an awesome opportunity for him. You have to think this is a guy that this was his first NFL opportunity. Obviously, he coached at Pitt, was offensive coordinator down there, but the Steelers had gave him his first shot. Thought that he did well in terms of the opportunities that he had. I know it was certain rumors about certain games where he had more of a onus on the play calling and things like that. Like I said, I just leave it as allegedly because we don't have any proof. So I'm not going to get up here and say something that I don't have proof for or I can't back up. So
either way,
it was rumored. It was rumored though.
The rumors or just the visual of what potentially happened that people, people are dropping these rumors is hysterical.
It definitely is.
Ben in Canada shutting off Finkner's mic
it definitely
flipping the court. Like that's hilarious. Like just to see that happening would be amazing.
Or how last year when Ben came out and they were like he unplugged Randy Finkner's headset. And Ben is doing calling the players.
What, does Finkner just accept it then? Like is that what happened? He's like, all right, my mic's off.
Like Tomo,
you don't think he'd try to fix it?
You're not even trying this man as a coach anymore. You trying his manhood now, baby. Like, come on, baby. Like, Deke. If you got your headset in, Deke, and I can just go unplug your headset, you just gonna allow that? No, man. Multiple times, like you're not gonna plug it back in. I'm not gonna come back over here and unplug it, and you go plug it, and we just be looking at each other like, really? Like, where do people come up with this stuff, man?
It's amazing. Like, you actually wish it did happen.
It would be hilarious, but it's like something from a sitcom. Like, that's not real. Like, these are real grown men. These are real people, man. You're not just, let me just unplug this real quick and, hey, you go stay here and take it too, all right? And you know I'm calling the calls in from here on out.
Is there a mic in Ben's headset?
It would depend. Some of the headsets are two-way where you can speak back. And then the other ones, you can just listen. So, like for Josh Dobbs, for example, right? When you see him on the sideline, his is just the one where he can just listen. He can't speak. Obviously, Coach Tomlin, Keith Butler, they have the ones where you can speak. It just depends. I don't know the full difference between them because at first I thought, oh, it's the ones with microphones versus not having mics. Then there was like some of them.
I don't even know where
mics.
you would put it, like down here.
Yeah, it's weird, bro. It is weird.
The way I could see it happening, though, if it's possible. Is there a sound guy up in the booth up there that affects the volume?
I'm sure it is.
That's what I'm saying.
Touching the levels.
Ben either giving him the signal of like point down on Finkner's mic and up on Canada's.
And Randy don't realize what's going on. Man, I called 36 Pro. I called Pro Right 36 power sweep. And why you running a backside Georgia reverse with Petey? I ain't called that play. Like you know what I mean?
And then all you do post game, you just give Finkner some credit, bro. And then Finkner's not going to be complaining. Yeah.
Finkner called his tail off, man. He was doing his dance. We're gonna do.
So I'm starting to connect things. That's how it could be possible. It's either Ben has the mic in his headset where he says to the sound guy, or says up to. I don't know how he would do it in the mic because
everybody would hear, right?
He would need the hand signal. Then
you gotta have the hand signal, a separate set of hands. And Finkner's like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "I'm just flipping pigeons, just woo, bird calling." Yo, you are crazy. Why do we just come up with this right here? What is going on?
Because I want it to be true. I do.
I need it to be true.
Because it's awesome.
Need it to be true. God.
It's awesome. Like, I hope in 10 years this comes out somehow.
Yeah. And then every time Finkner would say, hey, man, what's going on? Man, you got to shorten your – it's the wire. I think the shortest – it goes in and out on third downs. I don't know why. Any 3rd and 3 or less, your cord goes out. I can't hear you, so I just take over because you don't want robots. You want players. So I'll just try to be a player for you. I got you here.
Yeah. Because Ben's friends with them, it seems. He's cool with them, so he doesn't want to really hurt his feelings.
You got to be gentle.
That's what I mean. I think that's the possible scenario right there.
And you're right. He was very fragile at times during the year because of everything, the criticism. You're right. I'm with you, bro.
Dude, I could see it.
We need help, bro. What is wrong with us, man? But shout out to Matt Canada. Like I said, also with him getting this opportunity, we talked about last week also how he had his first interview for the offensive coordinator position with the Miami Dolphins. We said that was going to be a big opportunity for him.
That was right after we did the Haley and Peterson conversation where it was like, whoa.
Yeah, it definitely was.
Those two coordinators actually come here?
Which was awesome because, I mean, literally we kept saying to ourselves, right? We said, typically the Steelers haven't had a lot of coaches on their staff to get coordinator interviews, get head coaching interviews. And we said this year that they had two guys in-house in terms of Terrell Austin, the secondary coach / pass game coordinator who interviewed for the DC job in Tennessee. And then obviously Matt Canada, who was our quarterbacks coach, but interviewed for the OC job in Miami. So to see that we had two candidates in-house, initially I was kind of conflicted once we found out about Canada interviewing, because I'm saying to myself, like, all right, well, we said that Butler was going to be back. So it makes sense to not retain Austin at that level. Now, if he wants to come back and be, secondary pass coach wherever he is currently, well, then sure. But it made sense that, okay, we're not going to promote him if you are going to roll with Butler going forward. But offensively, it's like if you're getting rid of Randy Fichtner and you got a guy in-house that's interviewing for other OC jobs, premier OC jobs, we said, man, that Dolphins job, when you really thought about the draft picks, the young quarterback, the core group, the young coach, man, that was a top job if you are looking to cut your teeth as a coordinator. And knowing that he was getting interviewed for that, it's like, man, why would you let that slip away? And now you got to go elsewhere when you already had a guy in-house that you could have promoted from within. So it was good to see the Steelers share that same sentiment and go ahead and not waste time, not let this thing drag out, and go ahead and make Canada officially the offensive coordinator. So I definitely thought that was a good move by him. But I guess my question to you is, do you like that move? Do you think that was the right guy? Or would you have preferred a Todd Haley, a Doug Peterson, a Eric Bieniemy, a Brian Dable? Would you have preferred one of those higher end guys versus an inexperienced guy like Matt Canada?
I think I would have preferred those guys, just because I think it would have been an interesting dynamic with them and Ben, and just maybe some more innovativeness. And like you said, they have more of a track record.
Yes.
The problem is, it goes back to the conversation of we don't normally do that.
You're right.
Of bringing in those guys. So if we're just from within. If we're just talking and spitballing about this stuff and it's actually not going to happen, then what's the next move? It seems like this was the next best option. Yeah. So yeah, I'm good with it. I mean, I heard some good things Ebron was saying on Twitter, like this is one of the most innovative guys like I've had coach me, something like that. Unique formation. He said something really positive about him, which got me a little hyped up. So I just don't really know what the other move was. So I'm good with it. Yeah. And it seemed like he did enough stuff. I think Ben's complimented him throughout the year too. He's done enough stuff and has what the hell? There was something I even watched too. He has a bunch of different formations where it's not the same every time. I don't know if it was specifically at Pitt. But yeah, it seems like he is
like tackle over stuff. We saw earlier what they were doing with Al, where he would line up as a right extra O lineman and then shift over to the left side or motion and things like that. That's a lot of Canada. That's been, I guess, on his one of his staples since Pitt, where he has passing concepts where he features the left tackle. He's throwing it back for touchdowns to offensive linemen. Like, that's him. He's gonna give you that type of creativity, that type of off the wall type formations and things like that.
So we'll see what happens. Yeah.
Now, the biggest reason I was asking was because we talked about last podcast how we typically don't spend a lot of money on coordinators or on position coaches, yet we expect them to produce to the same level as some of these top tier guys. And once again, we're in that exact same scenario where we talked about some of these higher end guys that are available, right? Some of these higher end guys with more experience, guys with proven track records who would obviously cost more, but they go the route of promoting from within. Now, my question to you is, in 2 years, if it looks like how Randy Fichtner did, because Randy Fichtner was a similar scenario, quarterbacks coach, promote from within, spoke highly of him, then did. Players in the organization spoke highly of Fichtner when he got the promotion. If you're going to do that again with Canada and it doesn't work out, do you feel like from then on, you don't need to promote from within. You need to spend a little bit more money outsource because
I think that's fair because I think this situation is a little more unique than the Finkner one, where Canada did have a interview with the Miami Dolphins. So, maybe you give this one a year or two. Maybe 2 years. I don't know, but if things are just the same,
too,
then
from an evaluation standpoint, when you said the 1 to 2 years because of the Ben scenario, right? And we'll talk about that a little bit more later on. But just in terms of, all right, if he's here, how long is he here, right? If he's not here, who is here? So when you're talking about first year coordinators, or even if that's his second year, say Ben retires after this year, right? Or excuse me, after the 2021 season, right? Either way, he's going to be dealing with a major transition in his first year to 2 years of being a coordinator. So that's going to, I feel like, have another big impact on how we evaluate him going forward as well, man.
Yeah, it might actually be an unfair removal or release of him if Ben does leave, and it's just more of like we want to start fresh.
Which they
because he might have a decent season, but it's just like we want a whole fresh start.
And we said the way contracts are set up with Kevin Colbert and Mike Tomlin, that it could be a scenario where all three of those guys, in terms of Colbert, Tomlin, and Big Ben, are out the door at the same time. And if that's the case, the new GM that you bring in, new head coach you bring in, they might want to say, you know what, let's clean house. Let's do this our way. I want my guys. I want my staff here. So, and that does happen a lot. It happens a ton of times. Not saying that you won't have carryover, because obviously we talked about James Daniels, the tight end coach that recently retired. Shout out to JD, amazing coach, amazing guy. But he was a Bill Cowher guy that carried over to Mike Tomlin. So there have been scenarios where you can carry over with a different regime, but it typically doesn't happen because, Deke, if you're the head coach, your job is on the line. Are you going to want a guy that was hired from somebody else, or are you going to hire somebody that you trust, that you vetted, that you vouch for?
Yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah, no question. And it's not saying that that's a bad thing, but if you're going to put your job on the line, you want to do it with the guys that you trust, that you have a relationship with. So that's the other thing with that. So, yeah, I mean, it's definitely going to be an interesting year to 2 years for Matt Canada, though, man.
So what do you think?
I was 50-50 on it. I was torn. The one side of me, I'm like, that's the steal away. And as much as we love the steal away at times, there are times where I am a little tired of it. I do feel like you do need to add some innovativeness to it. You need to add a splash of life. And they have done so recently as it pertains to some of their trades and draft movement, right? You moving up in the draft to get Devin Bush. You trading away a first-round pick for Minkah Fitzpatrick. Back-to-back years making moves that deal with your first-round draft picks. We hadn't seen that from them in decades. So we are seeing them do some things that are starting to keep up with the times. But as a whole, they don't really operate like that. So as much as I would have loved for them to be a lot more aggressive and go grab an Eric Bieniemy type, right? Because even though we think that Bieniemy should be a head coach somewhere, he's obviously going to get his interviews, the jobs are drying up. And it's the gift and the curse of being on a good team, right? When you're on a team that goes deep into the playoffs, your interview schedule is drastically different than somebody who's, week 17 season over. You got full time to prepare, do what you need to do, travel, have the interviews that you need. With these guys, they literally have 1 day a week to interview, and that's after their game. So it's not really a lot of time. So if I'm the Steelers, I'm thinking to myself, man, you could grab a guy like that who should be a head coach, but more than likely is going to miss another opportunity. Him, Brian Daboll, it's a couple of guys in that same vein. Overpay them if you need to, but you know what that brings to your offense. And even if it's for 1 year, even if it's for 2 years tops, right? Just think about with this year, what we talked about this year. If the offense was playing at a crazy level, along with the defense playing at a crazy level, they have the goods to be a Super Bowl team. And we felt like, man, it was just little things that were missing. If that's what you feel, and I do think the Steelers feel that way as well, and obviously we'll see a lot more as the offseason progresses, what they do with Ben, what they do with some of the core guys, your Pouncey's, your DeCastros, your bigger name guys that cost a lot more money. We'll know a lot more how they view this team in the short term by the moves that they make with those guys. If they keep a large amount of those core guys together, they think that they can still take that next step. If they start to blow it up, they're going to think, okay, well, maybe we're a year or two away and we need to start revamping some things now. We'll know that, like I said, this offseason as it continues to progress. But thinking of those things, it makes me say to myself, why not be aggressive? Why not go out there and try to get one of those guys, man? At least interview them, right? Even if they turn it down, okay, cool. But I at least want to see you interviewing these guys. And we weren't even seeing that. So to me, that was the part that rubbed me the wrong way with it. Because not saying that Matt Canada can't come in and do a great job.
That's the thing. It's like everyone's talking about this innovativeness, and that's what you would be looking for if you brought in one of these outside guys.
Yeah.
So let's see if he could do it.
Yeah.
But just from the standpoint of, man, same old, just promoting within Steelers.
It's kind of like
that's the thing that throws you off a little bit.
Man, I look at it like I'm sure they have a new up-and-coming shoe brand that's going to kill it, right? I'm sure some new shoe brand is coming out right now that it's like, dude, man, this shoe is comfy. It looks good, stylish, great colors, beautiful texture. No one really knows about it, though. And then you over here, it's just Nike. And you just like, bro, I know this. This is perfect. Even on the bad days, I still know what this is. Not saying that can't be great, but I know what this is. This is a proven commodity. And that's kind of how I feel when I look at Matt Canada versus some of these other guys. It's like, I'm not saying Canada can't grow into that. I'm not saying that he might not be that right now. But we haven't seen it enough to know to that level. And especially, like I said, when you talk about this team under Ben, that window is closing. I mean, you looked at the games this weekend, you saw the window close on another quarterback as well. But we'll talk about that as well later time.
Okay.
But to me, that was my big thing.
He's talking about coming back.
Hey, man.
he said it's not over yet. He's still contemplating.
Trust me. It's a couple quarterbacks that I feel need to go. They can hold hands and just go off into the sunset together. Yes, and he's included in that bunch. It's a couple of them.
Number 9.
It's a couple of them. That's all I'm gonna say. It's a couple of them. I understand the legacy piece. I understand the names. I understand that. But if you watch it, you see it. You see it, man. Hot take: best quarterback in the game was Jameis. What?
He did. Hey. I mean, it was just one throw. It was wide open, but hey.
It was a dime. It was on the money.
It was.
It looked beautiful.
Yeah, it was 100%.
It was, man. It definitely was.
Definitely better than any of those Taysom Hill throws. I'll tell you that.
It was better.
Taysom Hills would have been like.
Nah, don't hate on Taysom.
Taysom would have been like 5 yards behind. Maybe they do get the touchdown because of how wide open it was.
All I'm gonna say is this: Taysom would have got that thing out there. Drew Brees won't get it out there, man.
To the receiver that streaked across the middle.
Yeah.
I'm talking about Jameis versus Taysom, though. You might be right on that.
I'm just simply saying Taysom versus Breeze right now as well on a deep pass. We ain't about to make it. I know you was gonna try to take a shot at Taysom. This ain't a Taysom segment. This is Drew Brees. We talk about Drew Brees. Yeah.
I know.
Taysom's an athlete. Taysom is Cordell Stewart, just the 2020 model. That's it. He's Cordell. He can throw. He can run. He's physical. Does a little bit of everything. Yeah, he's Cordell. Jameis is a quarterback. It's different. We know this. We know this, man. We know this.
What were we talking about? Canada still?
No. We were actually about to talk about another quarterback. We was going to talk about 7 actually, because this has been popping up. I want to talk about this before we transition to the division, just to recap the games and stuff.
Don't tell me. This is a hot topic, huh?
It's a hot topic, bro.
Can I throw some ice on this shit?
Nope. We're going to talk about it.
Can I throw some of that snow?
So we're about to talk. So there have been a lot of people asking in the comments about Deshaun Watson. How could we trade for Deshaun Watson? How could Deshaun Watson become a part of the Pittsburgh Steelers organization? And we did some research. I sent you, I did send you a picture of it, of the little, it's a little cap scenario, so you could just kind of see how it could work. Now, granted, I didn't give you the rest of the details of it, but there is a scenario in which the Pittsburgh Steelers could acquire Deshaun Watson. They could. And this is how it would work. So as it stands right now, Ben has a cap hit of $41 million. We already said that's the highest in the NFL. Yes, period. The highest in the NFL. Not Mahomes, not Watson, not Breeze, not Brady, none of these guys. Ben. We also said that, we didn't say this, but Deshaun Watson, he has a cap hit of $16 million. Okay. Ben Roethlisberger also has a cap hit of $22 million if he is cut or if he were to retire, right? So the theory is this. You could essentially negotiate a trade with the Texans. Obviously, you're going to have some form of multiple first-round draft picks, potentially a player. Now, some of the players that have been linked, they said Devin Bush potentially, or you could do a TJ Watt potentially, right? Either one of those guys with multiple first-round draft picks, whether it's 2 of them, something in that ballpark, because obviously Deshaun Watson, we already said young, top 5 quarterback under contract next, 4 years now, I think it is, because he signed his deal last year. So yeah, you're getting a franchise quarterback for the next 10 plus years. So understandably so, the stakes are going to be high. The reason why it could work is this, though. If Ben, you either cut Ben, or if you were to trade Ben, or not trade Ben, if you were to cut Ben, his cap hit would be at $22 million. You make the trade for Watson, whatever other picks you have to give up to get him. Once he comes in, that $16 million cap hit goes on with the $22 million in dead money from releasing Ben. Cap hit becomes $38 million then. So you're less than the 41, but you have effectively taken care of your quarterback spot for the next 10 plus years, essentially. So that was the scenario. And honestly, man, people were kind of, I've seen back and forth. I know what, and I'll let you tell, how you feel about it. But from my perspective, man, I don't hate it. If we were going to do it, and I don't think that the Steelers would, just because we typically said that's not their way, even though they have surprises of lately, I wouldn't be opposed to it because you're going to get a staple at quarterback. We talked about that mix between going from Tommy Maddox, right, to waiting to get to 7, and how, man, it kind of sucks at times, man. You get good play every once in a while, but it's not the same as having that elite quarterback, that franchise guy. And then we've been very fortunate here to have been for as long as we've had him. So now it's like, all right, do you run the risk of you let Ben finish this, year, 2 years, however this ending goes out, and then from there you play the game of quarterback roulette, hoping that you can find somebody, whether through free agency or through the draft? Or do you be a little bit more aggressive, and even though 7 probably does have a year or 2 left, you get this young guy who is a bona fide star and that is going to be here for the next 10 plus years. So that's why for me, it's like, I'm not opposed to it because, man, you from the organizational standpoint, it's a big time move, right? You're going to have that quarterback position locked up, and we all know it's a quarterback driven league. We've seen how even with Ben, he can have less talent around him when he was in his prime years. We're talking, 13 through 17 time frame, right? When he was really just going crazy. It didn't matter who was around him. He could still produce at that type of level. So we know quarterback is more important than some of these other spots. So that's why for me, it's like if he was available and you could make that thing happen, I'm open to it. Now, I understand losing a TJ Watt potentially or losing a Devin Bush potentially is a big deal. But let's be real. As much as we talk about defenders, edge rushers, linebackers, we all say that the number one position in this league that you got to have is a quarterback. Over an edge rusher, over a left tackle, over a receiver. If you don't have that franchise quarterback, you don't have anything. So that's why for me, I said, man, I would be open to it if they did do it. I wouldn't hate it. I'm not even gonna lie, I would like it. Because then I know we wouldn't have to suffer at any point in time for the next however many long with the quarterback spot, man.
I just don't think that fixes the problem, is my thing. I don't think necessarily just bringing over Deshaun Watson and plugging him in. I think if we get the offensive line and running back game right, we're Super Bowl contenders. I get what you're saying about long-term and everything, but then at what cost? Like you said, TJ Watt. I don't think TJ Watt necessarily gets it done. I think it's TJ Watt and a couple first-rounders.
Yeah, we say that. Mm-hmm.
So, nah, dude, I think we're good. I'm good with Ben, man. I think we're Super Bowl contenders next year if we bring Ben back. Like you said, I don't know how the hell they're going to work out the contract and all that type of stuff. But if Ben comes back, he's talking about wanting Juju back. It seems like he's probably going to be open to something.
He's going to have to be open to a lot.
So that's what I'm assuming. He's going to figure it out. We'll get Juju back. We'll get some of the core pieces back. It seems like he wants to run it back with this team. And I think if we do that, we draft offensive line, we draft running back, we'll be good, man.
But how long are we good, though?
Well, that's the thing. I mean, I don't...
Because I feel like you're looking more short term.
No, I get it.
And then after that, it's kind of whatever happens. Whereas I think from my perspective, there's more so smooth transition, sustained high level of success, no drop off.
I get that. But, if I'm coming from the standpoint, I think potentially 2 or 3 more years, then that's like a different story. If I think Ben could be playing at Deshaun, like they're at the same level, they're top 10 guys.
Now, do you think they're at the same level right now?
For the next, dude, yeah, I think going into next year, they're in the mix.
I think that's where we differ.
No, I understand. I understand someone may think differently, but I think Ben can have. Well, they did, in my opinion. They had very similar years. We talked about this.
The reason why I think it was different was because similar in terms of statistics, very different in terms of personnel. Very, very different in terms of personnel. The Steelers' offense, as bad as we want to talk about this offensive line, was still a good offense. The receivers were still top notch. The running game was inconsistent, but they still had pieces, way more pieces than that Texans offense. that
I don't
I
know.
mean,
we
think
were
about,
worse though.
No, we weren't. No, we weren't.
We were the worst running game in the league.
We were the worst running game, but we weren't the worst offense. And remember, when we talk about running game, it's statistics. People will say the Bills have a terrible running game. You watch the Bills play; they are not terrible running the ball. Statistically, the numbers are down, but they can still run the ball. So even though statistically, like I said, we definitely got to improve in the running game, and it was bad. It wasn't solely based on just them not being able to run the ball. It was based on the philosophy of we would rather throw the ball 40, 50 times. As we saw, I mean, we almost threw the ball 70 times in a game, 68 times in one game. That's not all on the running game. That is a philosophy thing. So that's why for me, even with that, I still feel like our offense as a whole was way better than the Texans. The biggest difference why the Texans were able to do what they did was because of Deshaun Watson. If you flip-flop those quarterbacks, Ben doesn't have that type of season in that Texans offense. Deshaun Watson, I personally feel, has a better season than what he already had if he's in the Steelers offense. That's all I'm saying, man.
I don't know. That's debatable in my opinion.
See, I don't think it's debatable.
I don't know. You want to talk about they don't have a bad receiving core. They don't.
So which one of their receivers are you taking over Claypool?
Going forward, that's a different story.
No, this year,
this year, Will Fuller played pretty good.
Would you have taken him over Chase Claypool? Yes or no?
I don't know.
Seriously. Would you have taken him over Chase Claypool?
How we use Chase Claypool? I mean, the numbers aren't like that gaudy. But would
you have taken him over Chase Claypool? Yes or no?
I don't know, dude. I have to look at the stats and I have to look at that more. I'd have to look at that more. I just think the receiving core is comparable.
Deontay Johnson, so you already used Will Fuller. So the next guy, who are you taking over Deontay Johnson?
Well, they got Brandon Cooks. I'm just saying it's comparable.
No. We're talking about this year, not a name. Cooks is the name. That's like saying they got David Johnson. David Johnson was the name. David Johnson was not playing at David Johnson level this year. So Brandon Cooks, name, cool, but are you really taking him this past season over Deontay Johnson? Yes or no?
I'd have to look at the stuff, dude. I'm just telling you. I would.
Next one, Juju Smith-Schuster. Then who you taking over here? You gonna tell me QT next? That's what you going next?
No, I mean they have Randall Cobb. I'm just saying the receiving core is not that bad.
Time out. Did you just say Randall Cobb?
I'm not taking Randall Cobb over Juju.
Did you just say Randall Cobb?
I'm not taking Randall Cobb over Juju. I'm just saying they're comparable.
And then James Washington. Who's comparable? Who's comparable to James Washington?
I'm not sure. Who'd you say that dude?
The QT dude? That's who you going with next?
I'm not. No, I'm not.
Why you lie to yourself like that?
I'm just saying they're comparable.
So if we're having this conversation and we're not talking about Ben versus Deshaun Watson, you're not even having this conversation about our receivers versus the Texans receivers. You've already spoken on our receivers numerous times being some of the best receiving groups in the league. That's what you said up here. You've talked about, even when we ranked the division and we said, man, I think I said the Bengals and the Browns, I thought had better receivers. You were the one coming up here talking about the Steelers.
That's what Ben coming back.
But now all of a sudden, you trying to sell me on Will Fuller, QT, and Randall Cobb. Are you for real?
No, I'm just saying if Ben was over there, I'm sure.
What are we talking about?
I'm just saying if Ben was over there, I'm sure he'd be able to make things work.
All I'm saying is Deshaun Watson would go insane in our offense, whereas Ben is going to struggle in that Texans offense. That's all I'm saying.
I don't know.
And it's not a debate. It's not a debate. We had the same conversation. We talked about Brady versus Russell Wilson. We said, man, if you took Russell and put him in Brady's offense, Russell was still cooked because, number one, he could move. We say even with the lack of weapons, even with the lack of offensive line, he's still good enough. Whereas Brady, he needs to be protected. He can't do these things. Deshaun Watson, man, he needed protection, and he still could get out of stuff. He's elusive, and he could extend plays and throw. And ultimately, that was his thing. We talked about, even when we broke him down this year, we said it was because of when he extends plays, that's when he makes, the defense pay. That's when he puts that pressure on you. Ben is not extending plays like that in that Texans offense, baby. I understand the nostalgia. I understand the love, but Ben is not that in 2020, 2021. He's not. So that's why, for me, I don't see how this is really a conversation. Like, we're not saying that Ben isn't a good quarterback. We're just simply saying if you flip-flop those two players, the productivity for one is going to drastically decrease and the productivity for the other is going to drastically increase. That's all.
I don't know. I see, that's my thing. That's what I said at the beginning. I just don't think if you plug Deshaun Watson in here, he's going to have these gaudy stats and stuff. I just don't know if that fixes the problem completely.
Wow.
That's my point. But and you talk about...
But so you think... So this, I guess, is the next thing I have then. Well, you know what? It makes sense because you still feel that Ben is better than Deshaun. I think Deshaun is better than Ben. It's not close right now. So that's why you say, oh, we just fixed O-line, running back, everything else is fine. I don't think that's going to fix the issues. I think you got to fix the quarterback part if you could upgrade it like that to a Deshaun Watson. If not, you're going to be the coach. Like we said last podcast. I mean, you'll be a good team. You'll compete, but you're not going to really be a Super Bowl contender.
Yeah, that's definitely how we differ, because I still see Ben as, one of these top 5, top 10 guys where you could lean on him.
Is Breeze a top 5 guy too right now?
I don't think so.
All right.
What do you mean? You're comparing Ben to Breeze? No.
Okay.
No way.
All right.
Ben's still got that arm talent, dude.
Okay.
We could agree to disagree on that.
Okay. Whatever you say, man.
I think it's way different levels.
Okay.
Like Ben over Breeze and Rivers for sure.
Okay.
All right. And you go back to the whole thing at the beginning, though, about having pieces around and building a team and everything. I mean, losing TJ Watt and a couple first rounders, maybe even 3 first rounders.
That's for a franchise quarterback, I don't care.
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. If that's what you're thinking,
you're talking about paying 40.
But it goes back to the thing, though. If you're trading for Deshaun Watson, then you're lessening the defense.
But this is what I'm asking.
And you're not fixing the offensive line and running game.
But if you stay with the $41 million, not only are you not upgrading that quarterback, but you still are going to have even more holes to fill because you can't address the things defensively in concert with the O-line and running back. So either way, the situation is going to be messed up. So now you're talking about having less pieces around an aging quarterback and expecting him to do more.
We'll see. Like we said with the contract. That's what you're expecting. No. Let's see what happens with the contract. I think if Ben comes back and if we can run it back for the most part, just upgrade the offensive line and running game. I think we're contenders.
This is what I don't think you're understanding, how drastic of a cut he's going to have to take to do some of the things that you're speaking of. $41 million is a huge chunk of cap.
But that's the thing. That's not.
But listen. Just hear me out.
Okay.
Even like I said, best case is what if you cut him. Best case scenario from a cap standpoint is $22 million. So if you're Ben and hey, you have to cut me to get it down to 22, I'm not taking anything less than 22 for my cap hit. Now, whatever they negotiate is still going to more than likely be over that 22 because he's still going to get compensated, right? He's still going to go out there and get paid. He's not going to play for free. He's not going to pay for $1 million. That's not Ben. So either way, the things that you keep speaking on where you're talking about multiple spots here, there, and there, it's still not going to be feasible. So like I said, at the end of the day, you're going to ask him to do more than what he was already doing this year with less offensively and defensively.
Are we sure about that, though?
I absolutely am sure about that, yes.
But less on offense, what does that mean? Is it just missing Juju, but still upgrading running game and offensive line?
But this is my question.
And then still keeping a great defense intact?
How are you upgrading running back and offensive line when you still got to talk about, from a money standpoint now, we're not even talking draft picks, just a money standpoint, Mike Hilton, Cam Sutton, TJ Watt.
But wait, what do you mean? I'm talking offensive line, though.
I'm just saying, you talk about upgrading, right?
Yeah, upgrading could simply be through draft and bringing Dotson in.
Okay, so you can draft and bring Dotson in, right?
And then either way,
but either way, you're potentially looking at least one. You're guaranteed to look at the left tackle that you're going to have to replace out. That's already out there. Mm-hmm. Then from there, we already said some combination between center and guard, or potentially 2 guards, because Matt Fowler is also a guy that you're going to have to compensate if you want him to return, right? So you're running out of cash flow. That's all I'm saying. Like those are multiple key spots on the offensive line that you're talking about replacing. Where are we getting all this from? How many draft picks are we using?
We got all of them, right?
I mean, you said that's okay. So center,
we've been hitting on drafts.
Center, guard, left tackle, guaranteed, right? You said running back. Okay, so that's 4 spots right there.
Why guard?
Well, what do you want to do with guard then?
Well, how much do we have to pay Fowler? We don't have to pay him more than like $3 million, right?
Either way, I'm simply asking is, are you keeping Fowler, or is Fowler gone? Or are we looking at 2 new guards, 1 new guard? What's your combination? Is the Castro coming back? What's he doing?
That's the thing. I don't know. Do we cut those guys? Yeah. And that's what I think. Just upgrading the offensive line is maybe cutting Pouncey and DeCastro and then getting younger. So, I mean, that could maybe even clear up some cap space. I just think they'll they'll be able to make it work, man.
I think that in terms of making it work and being successful are 2 different things. Making it work is just, well, technically, yeah, you can make it work with Ben under the $41 million. You're not going to be successful, though. Success versus making it work are 2 different things in this conversation. That's all I'm saying. So, sure, you could make it work. They'll find a way to have Ben out there and have a shell of a group, couple names here and there. But will that be a successful team? Will that be a Super Bowl contending team? It won't. I'm just letting you know it won't be.
All right, we'll see, man. We'll see. I think so. But I don't know if it's going to be shell. That's my thing. I don't think we're going to necessarily just have a shell of a team.
I'm trying to figure out where this new money is coming from.
If we can, for the most part, run it back, I really do think we're going to be contenders.
Because right now we're at least hoping that the cap will at least stay the same. Could go down, but we're hoping that it stays the same. Obviously, that's due to the pandemic, right? The revenues being down. So that's the other thing. We're making this assumption that, hey, you'll make this thing work with it staying as is. If it drops now, it becomes even more complicated. That's all I'm saying. So this thought process of this money, these draft picks, just this easy. I'm just like, all right, it's not enough.
All right.
But that was fun though, man. That was fun.
I didn't know you were going to bring this up or not.
Why not? It deals with the Pittsburgh Steelers. It deals with Big Ben.
Well, you
it deals with a top 5 quarterback in the NFL, Deshaun Watson, disgruntled.
You're right. Everyone's been talking about it. You texted me. When was it? On Sunday? Huh?
I said that to you Sunday. But literally, people have been talking about this since the reports came out that Watson was unhappy with the moves that the Texans made in terms of hiring the GM without him.
Yeah, it looks like he's definitely not coming back. Yeah, correct.
That's from everything we've seen. He said that essentially he's played his last snap with the Texans. And I'm not opposed to it. I mean, you have to think what he's had to endure under Bill O'Brien, them trading away DeAndre Hopkins, him having to do pretty much everything down there, man. And then the one thing you ask as a franchise quarterback is just to include me in the hiring process. If this has been 10 years ago, he's included in any major hires for the organization. It's understandable. It's expected. You don't think Brady was involved with major moves? Like, you expect that. So for them to not have, included him in that process, yes, his frustration is definitely warranted and understandable. He's in a good situation right now, man. He's in the driver's seat.
Well, because he's paid. He
has his contract. He's in the driver's seat. His cap hit, like I said, this year is still at 16. So it's still very flexible if you're talking about making moves with him. Now, obviously, once his deal continues to hit more so, then the numbers go up. But for right now, dude, $16 million for a franchise quarterback, a top 5 quarterback, that's a steal right now, man.
Yeah, and it's at that point, too, almost like the Harden situation in Houston, man. Where Houston, you want to make the move because you don't want your franchise guy to be disgruntled in-house, whether it's right or wrong, because we both agree probably Deshaun Watson has the right to be a little pissed off about this situation. Either way, if you're the Texans, you want to just start fresh. You want to probably just rebuild your organization. So they're going to be looking to probably do that before this season. I don't know when, maybe even around draft time or free agency. Probably sooner rather than later.
Remember, in terms of draft picks, they don't have a ton of picks. Remember, all of that got traded in terms of first round picks. That got traded to Miami. And they're still talking about struggling to find a head coach because they said that's literally the
worst job.
Yeah, it's like the worst job right now. So nobody wants to take it. And I mean, I don't blame them because right now you're looking at, like I said, not having a first round pick.
But did they already hire their GM? Is that what it is?
Yeah, they already hired the GM.
It's not even like you could bring the head coach and GM at the same time.
Right. So that was, like I said, they handled
the GM might have more power than the coach.
Correct. They handled the situation poorly, man. So now, if you're a coach coming in here, you're looking at potentially no Deshaun Watson. You already talked about how when you traded away DeAndre Hopkins, the receiving core was a joke. I know you tried to sell it to us for a second, but that receiving core is not what it needs to be. They need a number 1 receiver. Period. It is what it is. So if you're a head coach coming into that and you already know, man, this is a situation where they firing coaches like they don't care. I don't know if I want to take that on for the 2 years, unless you get the type of situation like Brian Flores got in Miami, where you trust the GM, where you trust the ownership, that they're going to ride with you, that they're going to give you more than just a one and done. They're not going to give you the Wilkes in Arizona where you go out there for 1 year, it doesn't work, all right, clean house. You're going to at least get two plus years because this is a multi-year fix. Like
it's like Colbert going to the Lions.
Like, bruh, Bill O'Brien did more than enough to turn that organization upside down right now, man. So yeah, it's going to be a multi-year fix, man. Definitely is.
Sure.
Man.
What do we got next?
It's time to talk some of these games, man. I was excited. And you know what? We'll just go in chronological order here of the games in terms of how they were played this weekend. Not that one game was, a little bit more of interest to me or not. Just going to start with the one that was available to us that Saturday, afternoon.
Okay. Packers Rams.
Yeah. That's what we'll start with, man. So
this one was the least interesting one.
It definitely was. Oh my God, I'm glad you said it.
I think
first,
I actually
man.
tuned out at some point. There's things I forget about this game.
I had to go back and watch it. I had to go back and rewatch it.
I didn't even do that,
dude. Because I don't know why it was so boring. It was bad. I mean,
I think it was Goff and the Rams offense. It's not even like the Packers were playing amazing, but they were doing good enough. Yeah. They were able to move the ball. Their running game was good. The offensive line was good. Rodgers picked his spots. So it wasn't anything on the Packers end where you're seeing lights out performances. Yeah. But the Rams were just so uninspiring on offense where it's somewhat of a game still, but there's no hope that you're really going to come back. It's something fluky's going to have to happen with the Packers.
I'll say this. Shout out to Cam Akers. He was making the plays to keep those guys just kind of like around. But obviously the dagger at the end, to Lazard or whatever. I mean, that was just, I don't know what the Rams were at. I don't know. I watched that play like multiple times on tape. I haven't seen that style of defense since like high school where it was really like a 4-4, like 4 D linemen, 4 linebackers, like everybody 8. It was 9 men in the box prior to the snap. I was like, what are you doing? And at the time, it wasn't even a 2-score game. So I'm just like, why would you be playing that type of defense at that part of the field? I understand that the Packers were having success running the ball, but it's like, you don't call certain defenses like that. It's kind of like when we looked at the Dolphins going cover 0 against Mason right before halftime. You're like, why are you doing that now? Like, you didn't need to do that. You could, and they were running as a basic cover 3. I'm like, you don't have to make all your personnel in the box like this for cover 3. And ultimately, they got burnt on it, man. But yeah, that game was
I don't really know what else you could say. I think the better team just is moving on.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Now, I do think that, to me, they are the favorite in the NFC right now, man. That's what I'm seeing. And we'll break that down a lot more when we dive into that preview matchup in the next podcast. But just based on what we saw from both teams, that's all I'm saying, man.
I initially thought that.
Yeah. I ain't want to say it, but yeah.
Home field, Green Bay. But then I thought, man, fuck it. Brady went on the road against the Chiefs a couple years ago. Yeah, played up in Foxborough.
I said a couple years ago.
I don't know if the cold's really going to affect them like that. We'll see, though. I think the Bucs defense is a little better, so we'll see. We'll talk about it later.
Yeah, we'll get on it. We'll get on it because I'm still like the Bucs defense has been playing well. Don't get me wrong, but yesterday, I feel like yesterday was one of those ones where it's gonna mislead you a little bit. It's gonna have you thinking that they doing something freaky down there. And it's like they're good, but they ain't freaky. That yesterday. That was a little bit more on that Saints, man. Their offense,
we talked about it. Yes. I mean, if anything, their pass defense is their weakest link on defense. Run defense is good. So it's just I guess the Saints weren't really able to expose that at all.
Yeah, not at all, man. But shout out to the Packers though, man. They'll be headed into the NFC for the NFC Championship game. But yeah, man. I'm done with that game. If you're done with that game, I want to get to the real game that was Saturday. You see, I almost forgot all about that Rams-Packers game. That's how
I know. Well, it sounded like you were going to just jump into the Saturday night game.
I mean, was there really a game? Did that game even count? I mean, like, we watched it, but did we really, like, it was cool. I enjoyed seeing Mike Patton. That's my DC. It was like, it was cool to see him back out there doing his thing. Also, I forgot another, actually, let me check, man, because I know Mike Patton is out there. Make sure my other guy.
Someone from JMU.
Hold on real quick. Hold on.
Who are you thinking?
No. I think it was another one of my coaches that I had
on the Rams, the Packers.
Let me check real quick because I know my JMU guy that's out there. I think he is injured. He should be on injured reserve. We have a secondary guy, DB named Raven Green. He's been out there for a while, but I want to say
what team?
For the Packers, but he got hurt early in December, so technically he's on the roster, but he's not active. He's on IR. Okay. But I thought it was another coach I had up there.
Is he going to be around the league for a little bit?
Oh, he's already been in the league for this is third year in the league right now.
Okay.
Yeah. So he's already been doing his thing as a staple up there. He is their Cam Sutton.
Okay.
Like the way Cam Sutton is for us, that's how he is up there. Similar to Dean Marlowe, they're all in that same ballpark of sub ball corner safety type. Yeah. You know. Just what we do. But that's why I didn't include him early on because he was hurt. But yeah, I thought my other coach was up there, but he actually was not. So either way, shout out to Mike Patton. And yeah, man, just another day in the neighborhood, man, for the JMU Dukies, baby. But enough of that game, man. Let's talk about the real game Saturday. Now, are you ready, man? Because it was an AFC North opponent, man. We had AFC North ball. You know, hey man, we had to talk about this AFC North game, right?
Both days, right?
Yeah, man. and you know, anytime we get AFC North ball, we're gonna be tuned in.
Is that why we're talking about this?
We're gonna be so enthused about the game because it was AFC North ball. Of course, that's why I was so tuned in. Because AFC North ball. That's why and people saw post game, I put up a little video, a little reaction. I was reacting to the Baltimore Ravens getting knocked out the playoffs. The same way Claypool said that the Browns would get clapped. That's how I was feeling with the Baltimore Ravens. I said, man, I don't care about y'all knocking Derrick Henry out. Y'all getting clapped next week. So that's why I was so excited. That's why I was so enthused. That's why I was so tuned into the game. And you saw me in that Bills apparel. IG. Everywhere. That was why. Because it was like, yo, this is the big, like, I'm giving the middle finger to the Ravens organization. That was the thought process the whole time, Deke. Okay? Don't let no one tell you different, baby.
Well, people are starting to question you. They really are. And I think I'm starting to get on their side. Because it felt like a middle finger to Pittsburgh.
No, that was to the Ravens. AFC North. AFC North, man.
You're a little too excited.
Come on, man. No. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. You feel me? The enemy of my enemy is my friend. Isn't that the art of war? Like that's strategic. Why do you think I do Buffalo Bills film breakdowns? Because it was all leading to them beating the Baltimore Ravens. And I needed to identify what they did well and what they struggled in, send the info up there so that way they could perform and knock out our arch rivals. Think about this. Would we be more upset about the Buffalo Bills winning the Super Bowl or the Baltimore Ravens winning the Super Bowl? We would lose our mind if the Ravens won the Super Bowl. We would absolutely go crazy. We would hate it. Can't have the Ravens winning the Super Bowl. You know how crazy of an offseason that would be to hear Lamar Jackson talking about winning the Super Bowl? The only thing worse than that would be if Baker Mayfield won a Super Bowl. That's the only thing that would have been worse. So you got to find that common ground. You got to find that one part where it's like, you know what? The lesser of two evils. You know what I'm saying? The enemy of my enemy is my friend. And the Buffalo Bills and Bills Mafia just happened to be our best friends, man. They took care of business. Not only did they handle business, but some people even said they exposed Lamar Jackson, right? They said, man, these guys have a great plan up there. They understand how. It kind of looked like they've been watching our tape in terms of how we attack Lamar Jackson with the Steelers, you know? It looked very similar to the game plan. Well, that's all I'm saying, baby.
Oh, I think that's why people are concerned about these Bills film sessions here. They think the insider info is going up, not for the Ravens.
You think that? No way.
But for the home squad here, that's what they're worried about, because technically we should have been playing the Bills this week.
If we would have been playing the Bills, I would have had this. But I told you, I was very skeptical.
You wouldn't have sent it up?
Right, I wouldn't have said. I was skeptical because of how our play was the past 6 games of the year. I was like, man, I just got a bad feeling about this one. And remember, I even said, when we did our predictions, I said, I've been here before. We've seen this. I still picked us to win, but we've seen that scenario. So that was the biggest reason why things had played on the way that they did. But come on, baby.
I don't know if we can do any more Bills film sessions.
What? Come on, listen, man. I wasn't even rooting for the Bills. I was just rooting for the Ravens to lose. You know what I'm saying? I thought that was the fan way, right?
The Bills just so happened to send all that stuff.
It was just the perfect time. You know what I mean? Like, oh, alumni, here, take the hat. And I'm like, oh, hey, hat. Oh, Ravens, we don't like those guys. Perfect storm. Did I come in here with Bills gear on today? Did I? Did I put Bills? Did I change to a Bills picture behind us? Did I put a Bills jersey up in here? Huh?
I don't know. Actions speak loud, though. I think that's what it is.
Exactly.
I think that's what it is.
And that's why
we saw that celebration. We're like, wow.
You know, that was the first Bills celebration video, though. Think about how many reaction videos we got for the Steelers. Think about how many watch parties we've had for the Steelers. We haven't even had a watch party for a Bills game. You noticed that, right? I was strategic.
We could see your emotion, though.
You see, I was strategic. I skipped over the Bills-Steelers game for the watch party. I skipped over the divisional round for the playoffs for the watch. I'm like, oh, it was there. And now I'm like, AFC Championship game. Oh, baby. Oh, baby. Wait a minute. Lord. Decisions. But either way, man, either way. Yes, I enjoyed it. I did. Because, like I said, man, my JMU guy, Dean Marlowe, was able to be out there making plays. The big pick six by Taron Johnson, man.
This dude, what the hell?
Dude.
What the hell?
I blame you. You know why?
Why?
Because remember when we broke them down, we said Trey White is the guy. We said that's the guy you want to avoid. But we said, man, we're a little skeptical about Levi Wallace. We said Taron Johnson, he was a younger guy. We hadn't really seen a crazy amount of productivity from him. And we just questioned just the overall depth opposite of him. And ever since then, man, Taron Johnson has had 2 pick sixes. He's been playing well. Levi Wallace been playing well. I'm sitting here like, dang, Deke, you the one. If anything, you might be the sleeper cell. You might have said the key words to wake them boys up there. And now, think about this. Ever since you said that, they've been hot.
I think you sent my tapes up there is what happened. I think you sent it up for bulletin board
material. Listen, guys, this is what they say about y'all down here. He represents Pittsburgh to the core.
Did you send my Duck Hodges bid last year? Josh Allen, is that what happened too?
Hey, and Josh, all I'm saying is I'm innocent, man. I am innocent, okay? It was not me. That's all I'm saying, man. I was rooting with pure interest, pure heart. Ravens, JMU. The place of my daughter. My daughter was born. My second daughter was born in Buffalo. You know what I mean? So I was rooting because I'm like, this is what my daughter, she came into this world in there. So it was that was beautiful. You know what I mean? It wasn't like, oh, let's go Buffalo. I wasn't singing a shout song and dancing around.
I don't know.
Hey, I wasn't giving them all that.
There might have been something different on tapes here.
What? What are you talking about? I ain't do all that.
Well, we're glad you broke down why you were rooting for the Bills.
It's the least I could do, right?
Just for the clarity.
It's the least I could do.
So, I don't know. What'd you think of the game?
I enjoyed it. I thought... Well, obviously the scoring was low. We both thought it was going to be higher, and obviously we didn't anticipate the wind getting as crazy as it was. But that is Buffalo for you, man. Buffalo weather. It could be sunny at one moment. It could be sunny at one moment, a blizzard in the next, and then a wind tunnel. 5 minutes later, and literally we saw that it did affect the kicking game in a major way. We saw Justin Tucker miss kicks that we've never seen him miss.
And I thought he kicked those good. It wasn't like shanks or anything. It was like, holy shit, this is just leaking one way or another.
And then even with the Bills kicker, it was the same situation.
You don't think he shanked that? That was bad though.
Well, no, I'm just saying, but like if you watch them throughout, all their kicks had different like crazy movement with it, where it was either going to be heavy right, heavy left, and it looked like they were trying to adjust to it, but were just guessing wrong. And like I said, that can happen, and I do think that hindered a lot of what both of those teams were trying to do. We heard the commentators talking about just them trying to throw the ball and not being able to do it. But then Harbaugh speaking on just the pistol center quarterback snap exchange being a little bit different because of the wind that was out there. But I thought that some of the things that we talked about going into the game, right? We said Baltimore runs the ball, but they do it differently. I said that they don't run this power offense like the Colts. They're more finesse. And the reason why I thought the Bills would handle it well was because of Edmonds and Milano. They're built for that style of game. And it definitely showed up multiple times where just open field, sideline to sideline. That's their game, man. They're of the Shazier model. They're of the Devin Bush model. They're not Vince Williams types, right? And that's the difference. When you're talking about matchups like that, they matched up well against the Ravens. But then, man, the Ravens still had their opportunities.
They did. It was the pick six. I mean, they were. Where were they at? Within the 10. It was
10. Absolutely. It should have still about to score. Yeah. And literally, man, it was just a Tampa 2. I understood what Lamar was looking at because he was working the tight end on Edmonds. He just never sees that vertical hook guy who's sitting there, and literally, when watching him release it, vertical hook guy's not there. It's a touchdown. Problem is, you got to know the difference between Tampa 2 versus regular 2. That's something that Mason Rudolph struggled with as well. Something that we talk about, man, when you're switching up those coverages, subtle differences, but major in terms of this route being there versus it not being there. Like that little subtle change can just dictate everything, and right there it cost him. And I didn't realize that was his first interception in the no. They said that was his first red zone interception or something like that. Yeah,
basically they were saying he's done really good in the red zone.
Yeah, because I know that they kept saying that with Josh Allen. I was like, yo, why are y'all trying to jinx him? Because Josh hasn't turned the ball over in the red zone. No interceptions. Like he finds ways to take care of the ball. Does a great job at it. And Lamar, that had been a similar case. But literally, they just kept saying, oh, man, these guys in the red zone. These guys in the red zone. I'm like, oh, yep, here we go. And then that happens. And then we already saw them jinxing the kicker.
What was that, 10-3 at that point?
Yeah, it was still 10-3. It was a one-score
They
game.
could have even kicked the field goal. It would have been 10-6. It's not like the Bills' offense was gangbusters out there.
Everybody, like, both offenses struggled with the win. And more so with the Bills because they wanted to throw the ball because obviously that Ravens defense, as they had talked about in the broadcast, had just stonewalled Derrick Henry, who was on a tear the second half of the season, but they stonewalled him, kept him for 40 yards rushing in the game. So they knew that they weren't going to be able to have that type of success running the ball. But as a whole, I thought that, man, they did enough through the air, man. They made the plays that they needed to make. Obviously, Diggs still was making the timely catches. I mean, that rapport, like I said, I mean, it's been there. You've seen it through the films and stuff like that. That's their bread and butter. That's their saving grace when things aren't working. That's their Ben to AB connection that they have going on, and it's hot right now, man.
And that was one of the things that kind of baffled me a little bit was some of the missed throws by Josh Allen, like wide open ones, deep. And because all I've seen all year was him hitting those.
But that's when they kept talking about that win stuff because literally we saw Josh. I think Josh had 2 or 3 where he missed downfield touchdowns. We saw Lamar have one as well. And then the other quarterback, I forgot he looked just like Lamar when he came in too. Holy cow. I swear it was the time I looked at my wife. I said, babe, if you didn't tell me this wasn't Lamar, and like I didn't see the number, I would swear that's like the towel, his mannerisms. I'm like, yo, he even calls the plays like Lamar, like look just like him. But he even had an overthrow as well on a wide open Hollywood Brown. That wind out there was nuts. But it was a great day because we got to see the Ravens lose.
Is that what the score ended up with? Because
17. It was 17-3.
Once he threw that pick, I didn't tune out. I started playing Madden. I had the game on my laptop.
Yeah.
But the Ravens had another drive in the fourth quarter, correct?
Yeah, and that was with the backup quarterback. He came in
where they at least had a chance to get it within one score.
They got him around.
Because then I saw Lamar. I saw Lamar get injured. I'm like, this game's over. But then
they got around midfield. The thing was, once Lamar went down, I think we were all surprised with the young kid that came in and how he played, but I don't think it ever felt like it was going to get to that point. It was more so they can score if they score this touchdown right here on this drive.
At least it's a one-score game, right. But it goes back to the Packers-Rams. You never really thought Ravens were going to win.
So even if they would have scored, it'd have been 2 to 3 minutes.
It already would have been tough if Lamar was still in.
Correct.
It would have been really tough.
Yes. So that was the big thing with that. So even though he played well in that little bit of time,
given the circumstances,
it was never going to be this crazy dramatic ending, which I was a little bit happy about because who wants to see dramatics when it comes to the Ravens? We want them to just get beat and get up out of here, you know? So I was very much excited to see that. But as a whole, man, I thought that the Bills rose to the occasion. And I will say this, I don't think that either team had a dud of a performance. Like, you know how like we talk about sometimes like, oh, this team went out here and got exposed. This team went out here and they just not good. I don't think that was the case. I thought both teams did what they do. I just think that the Bills handled the spread, the spread option running style that Lamar and J.K. Dobbins like to run a lot better than that Ravens defense were able to handle Josh Allen. And obviously the big turnover, that was the difference. Yeah. But as a whole,
it would have been 10-10. You scored a touchdown there. Who knows what happened?
Or think about this, the missed field goals prior to that. At worst, you're looking at 10-6, 10-9.
10-6, yeah, you kicked the field goal there, yeah.
Yeah, so to me, I thought both teams were doing what they were having to do, especially considering the circumstances from a weather standpoint.
Felt like a game 10, 20 years ago, man.
It did, right?
Me growing up in the mid-2000s.
Right. It was AFC North ball, man.
You're funny, man.
It was AFC North ball, man. That's what it was. I was looking for Jamal Lewis to come out of there, man. You know? Yeah, I was excited. But it was good. It was good. I definitely enjoyed it. But as a whole, though, man, it was good to see, just from a historical standpoint, to see an organization like the Bills, who we said, man, the reason why this year was kind of cool from a playoff standpoint, you got these different storylines. The Browns making the playoffs for the first time in how many years? Steelers returning to the playoffs. Bills in the playoffs, winning the division for the first time. North. Yeah, so it was like, it was cool to see those storylines playing out. And then you had, two of the younger premier quarterbacks in terms of Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen going at it. Then obviously the Bills win, advance to their first AFC Championship game, and I mean, think about the last time they were in an AFC Championship game.
You know what documentary was playing this weekend? The Four Falls, man.
So it's like
that's got to be. I mean, watching that for Bills people, that's got to be devastating. Watching that again, that's got to be terrible.
It kills them, and even like the kicker.
And you can even tell they try to make it positive throughout as it goes. Like,
rough.
It's still the Bills. We're still Buffalo.
No, like seriously, man. I remember when I first got there, JMU, right? I'm JMU guy, super proud. Tell me I'm from JMU. And they like, bro, the last JMU guy, it ain't work out. And we're like, what you mean? And I Googled Scott Norwood.
It was no way.
That was the kicker.
No.
Yes. So even Scott's, he's a beast. He's in their like wall of honor, similar to like our Hall of Fame, our Wall of Fame here in Pittsburgh. He's up there for that, and the Bills, obviously, in the JMU Sports Hall of Fame. I mean, the guy is decorated, but that one kick has forever stained his legacy. Like that's all they. So literally, when I got there, that's all they would tell me. Like, man, you heard about the last JMU guy? You remember the last JMU? I'm like, dang, dude, I thought I was on Friday. You heard about the last security guard, right? Like, whoa, hey, man, easy, big fella, easy. You know what I mean? So, but it is good to see them back out there. And, man, it's going to be exciting. They got a good matchup coming up this weekend that we'll obviously preview later on.
They're saying Mahomes is going to be good.
And you know what? Let's transition into that because I'm ready to. Are you ready to transition?
Yeah, that was the first Sunday game.
That was, man. Whew.
What about it?
Two things.
Yeah, you got something up here on your mind with this one.
I do. First off, man, shout out to Mahomes for a couple of things.
All right.
I've seen guys get knocked out before. I've seen guys get concussed. I've seen guys go to the blue tent to get evaluated. I've never seen a guy evaluated for a concussion in a blue tent sprint out of the tent and go to the locker room.
Oh, yeah.
He did.
Yeah.
I was like, what is going on?
I thought the same thing.
Especially when he couldn't stand up. I mean, you saw him when he tried to get up. We were all kind of holding our breath like, maybe he just slipped. All right, maybe he just tripped or something.
You didn't know what it was because they showed the replay. He didn't hit his head.
No.
And then you're like, was it his knee? Did I get twisted?
Yeah.
You couldn't really see anything there. And then you're just like, what the hell happened?
And then I just remember they zoomed in his eyes. And he got that look, that space look, the Mason look. We know that look. We're familiar with that here in Pittsburgh. And we're like, oh, God, we've seen that. And then the drunken staggered. I was like, oh, man, it's not Saturday 3 a.m, baby. That's the wrong walk you want right there. And after that, man, like I said, they take him to the locker. Take him to the tent. He runs to the locker room. And then just to hear them talking about, he might be, I don't know, he might be all right. You know, he's trying to come. I'm like, bro, there's no way you can let this man back out here. There's no way. So even afterwards, I was still kind of laughing to myself about the reports of, oh, yeah, man, they said, he's looking good. Should be back for next week. They said the reason he was stumbling was something with his, like, when he got choked, something about getting choked, his balance is off. I'm like, nah, I mean, I understand what you're trying to sell me here. And trust me, you don't have to give us this runaround. We all know the end result is somehow, some way, he'll be cleared by, independent neurologists. We know this. I've seen this story. I've seen it where a guy can't practice Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday. Talking to a guy Friday, and he's like, bro, it's Friday, 4 o'clock, practice is over. Man, I still can't remember what I had for lunch. I still don't feel comfortable out here. And then somehow, Saturday at 5 o'clock, passed the concussion test. He's good to go. And I'm like, what? Like, hold on, bro. I just talked to you not even 12 hours ago. You told me you couldn't even remember what you ate.
Did you ask him again what his lunch was that
I was
day?
scared. I didn't want to tell anyone. You know how it is before a game. You don't want to put any negative thoughts in the guy's head. You're like, bruh, you should not be out here.
All right, you're clear.
You're like, I'm not going to ask a question. And then you get in the game and you're like, oh, he got that look in his eyes. Oh, God, he got that look. So, yes, man. I was just like, man, I understand what y'all trying to do, but we don't need these
Wait, what did you think of the run then, though? Because part of you's thinking then, oh, he's running like,
right.
If you're concussed like that,
I thought he was fine.
Isn't someone gonna walk you off?
Right, and that was my thing. That's why I had never seen it, because typically once a guy is staggering the way that he was, you typically protect them from themselves. You don't want them to try to run, even though they probably
run into a wall or something.
Right,
yeah.
your equilibrium is off. Your consciousness isn't where it needs to be. You lost consciousness and came back, or it was rattled in some way, shape, or form. It's just not safe. That's why, I mean, you saw even last year with Mason when he got knocked out and he had to walk off the field, why the optics, number one, were bad, but why a lot of people criticize it, because it's like you don't have a guy who is concussed walking. Like you put them on a cart, you drive them out of here, or you take care of them, you make sure that they're safe. Like you don't have this guy running off the field like that. Imagine if he's running and he just falls over, like how bad that would have looked. Or if he runs and hits the wall going into the locker room. Like just from an optics standpoint, it didn't happen here, so you're cool, but it could have been way worse than that. So that was my thing. I just wasn't a fan of that. I didn't know if it was more so just Mahomes just trying to do whatever he could to get back out there, because sometimes from my conversation with people who have been concussed, because I've never had that experience. Knock on wood, let's keep it that way. But I'm very familiar with guys who've lost complete consciousness, guys who've had their consciousness rattled for a few, and then guys who just have their bell rung. And what they all kind of say is, man, when you go out of it, when you come back, sometimes people look familiar, but you don't know names. You won't know who they are. So it's like, I recognize you, but I don't know where I know you from. So you're trying to play it cool. And sometimes while you're trying to play it cool, you will do wacky things because you're trying to. It's kind of like if you're drunk, right? You know, when you're drunk, you're like,
pulled up by the cops.
Hey, be calm, be normal. You're cool. Put your elbow up, tilt your head, tongue out. And you're like, bro, you look drunk as heck right now. Like that's kind of how it is when you're concussed, from the guys that have told me that. So when I saw him run off, I'm like, he's probably thinking to himself, man, if I just run to this locker room, that's going to show them I'm good to go. We can get this conversation speeded up. Even they're going to ask me the exact same questions in the locker room that they asked me in the tent. Like, let's be real. What do you run into the locker room for? Not thinking right. If you try to get back in the game, they're going to ask you them questions right there on the side in the tent. Then from there, they decide what they're going to do with you. They take you to the locker room when they decide, look, man, you ain't coming back out here.
Yeah.
So you could just see, it's like, man, it's not really making a lot of sense what he's doing, even in that action right there. So that's why for me, I'm just like, I as soon as he left, I'm like, yo, he can't come back in this game. Can't come back. But I fully anticipate him being out there next week. Right, wrong, or indifferent, I just anticipate him being out there. It just is what it is. Game too big, too much money involved for the NFL. It's gonna happen. We know this. We know this. Let's not even lie to ourselves. We know this. But as a whole, though, man, I thought it was a good game. I will say, man, the Browns, they definitely impressed me. I was skeptical a little bit, man. I thought that they could do some things to slow the game down from a running the ball standpoint. I did think the Chiefs would get off to a slow start because of how much time they had off. But I thought that they were making timely plays, even when Mahomes was out there. I never felt like it got to that point where the game was out of hand, or that they weren't at least in striking distance while Mahomes was there. Now, obviously, once Mahomes went down, it changed a lot more, and we expected that too. But I just thought as a whole, man, the Browns played well. And I guess I was impressed by it because I want the AFC North to have good ball. I don't like when it's like we got one playoff team, but the rest of our division is trash, and they talk about us like the NFC East. That's not cool. 3 playoff teams is dope. That lets you know this is an upper echelon division. And I feel like when it's like that, it's better for us as a whole, man. It validates us even more when you're coming out of a gauntlet of a division with multiple playoff teams. When you're the one that won that division, it speaks that much more for you. So that's why I was impressed. I'm like, good, keep that. Keep looking good like this. Baker even was flashing a little bit. I was like, all right, couple clutch throws here and there.
We'll just beat you next year. You could look good here. That's fine. We'll take care of business next year.
Come on, man. Yeah, and I for a fact was rooting for the Chiefs as well.
Were you?
Yeah.
Wait,
AFC North.
Wait, hold on. But you had the money on the Browns with the plus 9.
Think about this. No.
Okay,
you can want a team to win.
Okay.
And still put money on the spread. That's no different than if the Steelers were favored by 14 points against the Bengals, right? And I think the Steelers win money line, but I like the Bengals plus 14 points because I don't think the Steelers will win by 2 scores. I think they'll win by 10 points, 11 points, somewhere in that range. So you're going to have your team win. You're rooting for the same team to win. But when you get the points, that's that's more strategic, just betting stuff.
Okay.
Has zero to do with like who you think is going to win the game or not. If I was going money line, nah, that's a little bit different. Never money line against the squad, though. We'll take points now. I have done points. I ain't gonna lie to you on that now. We'll point it up. But money line is different. So that's why for me, it's like I felt the Chiefs were going to win, and I was confident that they were. I was rooting for them. Not only do I want, I want to see the Browns because they're AFC North get beat.
You're staying consistent with all the games.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? See, keep that same energy, baby. All right, it's because they were AFC North. I just needed the Chiefs to win. You know what I mean? I just like, yo, under any shape, just get them out of here. I can't have the Browns in the AFC Championship game. That's what it was, lesser two evils. Would I rather see Mahomes go to the AFC Championship game for the 3rd consecutive year? Would I rather see one of my former teammates in Le'Veon Bell advance to the AFC Championship game again? Would I rather see one of my guys that I've competed against for multiple years who actually cost me money, Mitchell Schwartz, who granted who's on injured reserve, but he was their right tackle for the past 2-3 years now, see him get an opportunity, have his organization go back to the AFC Championship game. I took that approach. I was like, you know what? I'd rather see those guys do well than my AFC North rival have success. That's the only reason why I tuned in. That's why I didn't have a watch party for that one either. I was like, man, it's AFC North teams, we give them no love.
So you're going to do an AFC and NFC Championship watch party next week?
There's potential for that. There's potential. working out the details logistically, but because it's neutral now. You know what I mean? I don't have a betting interest. I don't have a interest. You know what I mean? Because there's no AFC North anymore, so I'm good now. But I will say this: I just want to plant the seed in you guys' head. We love 7. 7 is our guy, right? Mm-hmm. 7 is always in the GOAT conversation, right?
He's in the mix, yeah.
But the only way we can keep him there is to not allow new people to come in there. If Patrick Mahomes were to go back-to-back Super Bowls, potentially back-to-back Super Bowl MVPs, that's going to change a lot. We don't need that energy. So if I'm out here rooting for Buffalo this weekend, understand it's solely from the stance of I love
for the Steelers. It seems like
it's for the Steelers. Absolutely.
Seems like all your perspectives from the Steelers.
That's what it always is with me, man. And I don't want them looking at the Chiefs as the new New England Patriots, right? That's what we've been seeing get thrown around, right? They're the new Patriots, the new dynasty. Young quarterback dominate for the next 20 years. We hating on him. No, he's not going to dominate for the next 20 years. We need him to lose this weekend. So that way, he's down here with the rest of us. You feel me? And there's no dynasty now that you didn't got beat. You're not the Patriots. You want to be Seattle so bad, you trying to go back like it's nothing. Like, nah, you don't. You're not getting that luxury, man. So that's why we're going to be rooting against them this weekend for us, for the Steelers, for the black and gold. More importantly, for the legacy of number 7. You feel me?
Because we don't want looking out.
Man, that's the least I could do, bro. Like I said, it's a sacrifice for me because, I just love good ball. And I hate having to take this approach of rooting against someone. But I don't have a choice. Listen, y'all backed me into a corner. Chiefs, if y'all didn't win it last year, I wouldn't have to root against y'all this year.
Yeah.
But because y'all did what y'all did last year, because y'all didn't allow Garoppolo to win it, now we gotta humble you guys. I mean, y'all like the Titans, y'all like the Ravens, y'all are big trusting us right now. We gotta humble y'all. Y'all aren't humble right now. Y'all think Chad Henne is the next best thing since sliced bread. Y'all think he's a legit dual threat quarterback because what he was able to do yesterday. You know what I mean? We got to talk about we can't allow that to happen because then they're gonna think that the quarterback position, man, they just grow on trees and all of a sudden that's not the case. We gotta let them know that quarterback is a significant position, okay? And we can't allow them to just be willy nilly and whoever out there and winning games. Just can't have it.
It's weird because on one hand, I couldn't believe he actually played pretty confident like that. At the same time, though, you got Reed, you got the Chiefs. I think who was it? Matt Moore last year looked confident. Mm-hmm. So, but in that situation,
it's funny though.
In that situation, though, he stepped up.
Well, because
outside of the pick, obviously,
the pick was terrible. I don't know what he was doing, but as a whole, though, this situation was obviously a lot higher of stakes. Matt Moore had more opportunities because obviously it was 3 games that Mahomes missed?
2 or 3. Yeah.
I think 2 or 3. So obviously he had multiple opportunities, but this from a significant standpoint, from a season standpoint, from a momentum in the game standpoint, at that time, the Browns had the momentum. The Browns they were knocking.
Well, yeah, I guess the pick, though, when was it? That was like 5 minutes left.
Yeah.
They were only up 22-17. So the Browns had their chance.
No, seriously. It was just they couldn't sustain a drive after the pick. They had the 4th, was it 4th and 7? And then people criticized, oh man, well that's what you go for right there. You don't punt it. It's like, bro, once again, obviously hindsight 2020, it worked out. But if Matt Moore doesn't have that freaky scramble on 3rd and 5th, or excuse me, if Chad Henne doesn't have that scramble on 3rd and 15, it works out. They get the ball back and they get opportunity to march down the field. That changed everything for them though. So that's why for me, I wasn't opposed to the punt. I just thought that, man, you got to execute better on that 3rd and 15. But
we talked about it off the mic. I can't blame the defense. There's no way you're accounting for that.
No, I've played against Chad Henne. I've played against him multiple times.
Which team?
He was the Dolphins.
Dolphins? Yeah. Where else he played? Jaguars?
Yeah, he was Jaguars. Though. Yeah, I played him. No, I think I missed him in Jacksonville. I might have played him once in Jacksonville, but I definitely played him multiple times with the obviously Bills, Dolphins.
AFC East.
But he's never looked like that. Tannehill looks like that. When Tannehill was in Miami, that's how he would look. So when I saw him, I was like, bruh, I would have played the same coverage. I would have had this soft coverage, play at the sticks, 3rd and 15, make them throw it underneath and tackle the catch. Yeah, great play by him, though. And then even gutsier call on the 4th and 1. Shout out to that call, man. It was funny. You got Romo. He's giving us this window dressing is not about to happen.
Look at their body language.
It's not happening. And then it's like, oh, wow, it's happening. And it was a completion. They ain't even trying to run it. I'm going to throw it. Like,
They've done that play how many times? I've seen quite a few Chiefs games just being on a nice time slot on CBS and stuff. Yeah. When it's come down to the wire, they've done that every time. They've done it every time. Like just a little rollout and then Hill on an out route every time.
The thing that's funny defensively, I was going crazy. I looked on social media. I saw my man Vince Williams going crazy. Anybody that's played in Pittsburgh under Coach Tomlin, it's possession downs, third downs, fourth downs, shorts, never get beat to the flat. That's all we kept saying, because you just know, like, typically teams, when they come out, you guard for the quarterback sneak or the inside run, typically by alignment with your interior D lineman, but you know the perimeter play, the sprint outs, the run pass options to the edge. That's how teams want to attack you in short yards. The same with 2-point conversions, right? You attack perimeters because it gives you the run pass option. If I can get you in a bind where, all right, you got coverage, but I could run this thing, that's what the offenses are looking for. And literally, I'm just like, bro, the one thing you can't do in coverage is get beat to the flat like that. And literally, Tyreek Hill beats the guy right into the flat, wide open, easy throw and catch. That kills you. We're just like, possession down. I don't care what else. You might blow something else, but that's the one right there you can't have happen. And anybody in Pittsburgh, man, Coach Tomlin, that's all he talks about.
Were you surprised he went for it? I kind of wasn't, actually.
I wasn't. Yeah, I agree.
Although at the same time, if you think that doesn't work, they get the ball at the 50.
Yeah.
And you're only down 5.
The reason why I wasn't surprised is two different philosophies, right? When we talk about Coach Tomlin, he makes his moves based on, hey, I think my defense can make a stop, right? We talked about when he decided to defer in overtime, put the defense out there, defense makes a stop, everything works out. It's the reverse for Andy Reid, though. Andy would rather live with taking a shot on his offense than putting it on his defense. Different philosophies, not saying that one's right or wrong, because obviously in that scenario, when it's Chad Henne at quarterback, it's a lot different than when it's Patrick Mahomes. But you can just see his philosophy of, hey, if we got the ball, I'd rather, take the chance on us than worrying about my defense. Nothing wrong with either philosophy. Both have been successful. Both have won championships. But it's just the difference in mentality. And that's why you said, man, they went back to their bread and butter. That is one of their staples on, short yardage situations. They like to get to the perimeter, have a throw pass, a run pass option. We've seen Mahomes, even in the game, we saw Mahomes run it earlier like that. Like, that's what they do. So to see that, it was just like, all right, they stayed true to what they did, but more importantly, Andy Reid stayed true to him. He's an offensive coach, so he's not going to get here in one of the biggest moments of the year, say, all right, I'm going to put on defense this time. Like, nah, stay true to who you are. So I liked it, man.
Yeah.
But it was good, though, as a whole, man. I thought that was a really just good game, man. Really good game.
Yeah.
And more important, because the AFC North lost. Yeah.
Is that all we got for Chiefs-Browns?
Absolutely, man. And like I said, we're rooting against the Chiefs next week because we need the legacy. We can't have him going back to back. It's not a good start for his legacy. Think about what a back-to-back Super Bowl championship, back-to-back Super Bowl appearance. Just think about what back-to-back Super Bowl appearances mean for him. 3 straight AFC championship games, and be winning 2 back-to-back, 2 Super Bowl appearances back-to-back. This young, Super Bowl champ, MVP regular season, and MVP of the Super Bowl. It can't have that much more. It can't do that anymore. You feel me? Okay. So I need you as well.
Me? What do you mean? Dude, see, here's my problem is I think we're flipping roles here because
what do you mean?
I said this last year even. Once the Steelers are out, I don't really get that emotional about teams.
Yes, you do.
I really don't.
Yes, you do.
I just want to see good ball.
No, you don't. No, you don't. So would you want to see Ravens, Browns in the AFC Championship game?
I wasn't rooting for anyone.
I'm just
telling you.
That's not the steal away.
Because
it's not the steal away.
You see how you're spinning things here? You could spin it however you want of like what's good for the Steelers and what's not.
What's good for the Steelers,
baby. I'm just like, man,
it's all about the legacy.
Let's see some good games. Let's see some good performances.
We don't need good performances. We need certain teams to lose. Period. That's what we need. Just certain teams to lose.
I just don't feel that way, dude. I don't want it to come off as this douchebag, like, oh, I'm higher than all football fans or something. I just don't get emotional.
If you look at the social
outside
media,
of the Steelers, I just don't.
I just think the same thing, and I checked again this weekend, social media.
Oh, I know. I said this last year. Remember I said this last year?
Absolutely. So the energy is there. So I'm just following suit.
Okay.
Just following suit.
That's what I'm saying. I think we flipped roles here. Where I'm just watching football. If you ball out, you ball out. You got to give your credit.
So that means since I'm just following suit of the Steeler way from a fan standpoint, that means that y'all shouldn't be tripping this weekend. You know what I'm saying? When I'm rooting against a certain team. Not rooting for a team, just rooting against a certain team.
I think the message is getting kind of mixed there.
No.
I know you're saying this, but it looks a different way. I'm just letting you know.
Bro, how could it be looking at I'm being real here.
I don't know. Bill's
I'm
logos.
being full transparent, man.
Bill's logos, emotional response.
Emotional response.
Videos, yeah.
Because the Ravens had got beat. I even said it in the video. I said, yo, the Ratbirds lost. I said the Ravens lost. I said that first. I led off with that. See? It was strategic.
I think as people are listening to the podcast through though, now they must ask, where was the Chiefs gear? That's the thing.
The problem was this. I actually do have a Chiefs shirt. No exaggeration. I honestly got you. I do have a Chiefs shirt.
Okay.
It was wash day though. Okay. That was the problem. Yeah, and I'll tell you my one Chiefs shirt that I have. It's like the only Chiefs gear that I own. I have a Barry Strong shirt. Remember when Eric Berry had cancer?
Okay.
And they did the big push to raise money for him. So I supported. I said, you know what? We're part of that same 2010 draft class. Know him. He was a cool dude. Every time we interacted, it's like, you know what, man? I will support you through this journey. So I went and got me a Eric Berry Strong Chiefs shirt. So yeah, so I do have one. It was just wash because I actually do wear it. I wear it a lot.
It was washing during the game.
It was wash day. That's all I said. It was wash day.
In the middle of the game?
It was wash day. That's all that matters.
Phone was dead too.
It was wash day. That's all that matters. All right. And I felt like it was important to connect with my family.
Right.
That's why I didn't want to put a video out because I was like,
yeah,
I've been putting a lot of stress on my family with the recording.
Sunday too. It's like it's
you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's the rest day, and the week.
Sabbath,
yeah,
you know what I mean? It's the day the Lord's made. You know, my mom.
Saturday, you're just a little more hype.
I was just like, so it was different. Yeah. That was the reason. Okay. And Saturday it snowed, so I was excited. So I'm like, oh, it snowed. Like I love snow. So yeah, that was wild. But y'all know me. Y'all know.
Okay.
You feel me? So yeah, bro. Ready to get to that last game, man?
Sure.
The game, the battle of father times, right? Whew. Saints Bucs.
Yeah.
It was actually it was different. I was glad that we were both right though. Brady's not losing 3 times.
Wait, why were you glad?
Well, because I like when we were correcting our picks. Okay. That's what I'm saying. I was glad. Like, you don't want to be wrong, do you?
Dude, are you correcting like all your picks right now?
I am.
Outside of the Steelers? I think you are for around the league.
Yes. So far, so good, man.
Yeah, for your TikTok one, you were like 5-0 for the first week. And then this one.
Yeah, because I had Rams last week with the upset. That was the only one we differed on last week was just the Rams one. And this week, we were all the same. No, except you had Ravens.
I picked Ravens over Bills. Yeah. So what do I have? I have 3 losses.
Yeah.
My picks aren't that bad.
You're not bad. No, that's
these cool. TikTok kids get on me, man. They say I'm terrible.
You know why?
Why?
It's 27-13.
What? 27-13. My consistent pick.
Yeah, it's ingrained in their head now.
I am definitely bold about my Steelers picks. I will say that. I will say that.
Around the league, you're fine, but when it comes to Steelers, it's a different.
Well, that's why. Yeah, that's why you go full man.
Skip Bayless, Colin Cowherd, Jim Rome. Like you give us that when it's Pittsburgh.
That's why I'm depressed, dude. That's why I'm depressed. Even doing these pick videos, it's like this don't feel the same. This don't hit the same without the Steelers. Me making picks, it doesn't.
Oh man. I'm with you, bro. Heck yeah, it don't feel the same at all for me either, bro. I'm with you. I told you, I said, man, I ain't even want to post the video. You know, when you hit me, I was like, I don't even know if I should post this or not. I guess I'll throw it out there. You know, come on, man. I'm with you, baby. I'm with you the whole time, man. I'm with you the whole time. It just don't even feel right.
All right, we got this NFC game.
Yeah. Well, I was excited about this one because obviously now this is the house divided for me and my wife here.
Really?
Yes, because she's not a big Tom Brady fan.
Okay.
She Buffalo,
okay,
Pittsburgh, like Brady's on her bad list forever. For me, I've already told you, I have a great respect for Brady. Every time I played him, like I always respect him. Then just anytime we've been able to communicate during these games, post game, I'm like, yo, he always.
Oh, you're cool with him.
Well, I would say funny story.
Podcast interview.
I tell people all the time, man. I said, man, Brady was on a first name basis. I said when we was in Buffalo, it was Moats. It was 52. I can't hear the Pittsburgh. We played against him. Arthur. That's what we started calling me during the game. Arthur. And I'll never forget it. I remember telling my folks, I said, hey, Brady was calling me Arthur. That's different. If he's calling me by my number, he's calling me by my name, that's one thing. He's calling me by my first name. Not the last name that's on the jersey, the first name. So, yeah.
I think there's a mutual respect there.
So for me, it's always different when it comes to him. I even purchased the book to support him when he first dropped the book, right? Never read it, but I purchased it. It's like, all right, show the love. Anybody that I feel like as an NFL player, like if I rock with you in some way, respect it, I'm going to support it. I always like to do that, right? Wifey, she's out. She's like, bro, nah, heck no. We ain't rooting no Brady, no love for him. And I'm like, babe, not only, Brady, I'm like, I can understand that whole disdain. Cool, I'm not tripping on it. But I said, I got my 3 JMU boys down there. One of them is starting in Aaron Stinney. Said, man, two of the guys that are down there I actually played with, hosted the one guy on his visit, Earl Watford. I hosted him as a true freshman and played with him. Josh Wells, he was another guy, played with him as well. So I'm like, these are my guys. So I'm like, I'm definitely want to see them do well. And then I said, man, I got my other dog, AP, A4 out there. Like, well, he ain't A4 no more, he A1. Yeah. But still, I'm just like, hey, I'm a son. Like, I want to see him. Like, his mind is in a good place right now. When football's good, you haven't heard from him his mind is good. He stays out of trouble. I'm just hoping it stays like that. So I'm like, yes. I want to see that. I want to see him still do his thing. So yeah, man, I was happy. I was very much happy, and I was enjoying it, man. As a whole, though, I wanted to see more from the Saints. I wish it didn't have to be obviously like the first two games where they had these crazy offensive performances. I just wanted to see more from them, though. I thought outside of the Jameis Winston trick play touchdown, they didn't really do a lot from a passing standpoint to threaten the Bucs. In turn, I thought that put a lot more pressure and attention on Alvin Kamara. Now, even though he was playing well, I thought that it was just, man, he's facing way too many people in the box. And the commentators kept talking about it. They were like,
they targeted him a lot in the passing game too. Yeah. There was nothing.
And that was because, like I said, man, they didn't feel threatened by Breeze being able to stretch them downfield, man. So that was the part that was a little bit disheartening. Obviously, it would have been cool to see what Taysom Hill could have brought in from a wrinkle standpoint. But if he's out there, then we don't get the Jameis Winston touchdown pass. And I enjoyed the Jameis Winston touchdown pass.
Oh, yeah.
It looked good.
Yeah, he was hurt.
It looked good.
Taysom Hill. Who, Jameis Winston?
That throw looked good.
We talked about this. Yeah, I thought it was a good throw.
It looked good.
I don't know what they're going to do. I mean, I would lean.
The Saints said they said that they feel their franchise quarterback is in-house. And they didn't specify whether that was Jameis or Taysom, but they definitely said it's in-house. And they do say that they did say they want Winston back. They did say that.
I know, that's what I mean. They've been sending mixed messages with this from starting Taysom.
Correct.
These few games where Breeze has been out. That kind of goes to show, all right, maybe he's our franchise guy going forward. But then you saying we want Jameis back, that's almost saying like, hey, you got a chance to start next year.
When I looked at it again, I thought like how you did initially, but I changed it, and I think that they are on par with what they did. The move to have Taysom Hill start, it wasn't necessarily saying that Taysom Hill was better. Taysom Hill just gave him the best chance to win because what? Taysom Hill's been in that offense for multiple years.
For this season.
Right. Jameis this year, think about Jameis this year. No preseason, condensed training camp where his reps were limited because you still had to get Drew Brees his reps and Taysom Hill his reps. So if you were going to throw him out there, does he give you the best chance to win over Taysom Hill? It was kind of like the Mike Vick versus Landry Jones argument here in Pittsburgh. Landry more familiar, can run the full offense. Vick more talented. So it's like, which one do you want to go with? But during the season, that talent really doesn't matter if you don't understand the full gamut of the offense. So that's how when I looked at the decision to go Taysom Hill over Jameis, I looked at it from that angle of, man, they understand that we're trying to win. They were in win now mode. So you go Taysom because he's going to help you keep the offense going. Granted, it's going to be limited, which it was, but he can do enough to keep you rolling. And now, when the offseason hits, now you can really decide, okay, well, number one, Jameis, your number is going to be a lot lower than if you did go out there and play. So the business side, trust me, it's always a business angle, So now your number is low.
So potentially you get a franchise guy for 2 or 3 years at a discount.
So I'm going to get you cheap. Because remember, I took a chance on you. It wasn't like you had all these other offers out here. I took a chance on you.
A chance, though.
So,
$1 million.
Right. But it worked out, though, right? Because you got playoff experience. You got a chance to come here and throw a nice pass, but you got familiarity in the system, right? So now, full off season, this is your team. Breeze retires. You're the guy. Or for conversation purposes, we'll have an open competition between you and Taysom Hill.
What's the contract, you think? 10 mil?
Tops. You don't 15? Have to give him more than that.
Okay.
What has he done since Tampa to make you feel like his market has increased? Because I don't think he did enough. I think
you don't think he can get 6 or 7 in the open market?
I'm just simply saying, like, do you think his market is going to drastically increase now based off what we saw this year compared to him coming from Tampa? I don't think we saw enough from him to make it that big of an increase from a money standpoint. So that's why I don't think it's going to be too much further than what he was already getting offered from last year.
Okay.
So I think his number is still going to be fairly low, surprisingly to a lot of us, but solely because of the lack of opportunities. Now, a team might say, you know what, we're willing to overpay. We'll take a chance. But depending on draft position and other things, you got options.
I mean,
because if you're Jacksonville, you would say Jacksonville, but it's like
quarterback class
they could go year. Trevor Lawrence. People are flirting with Justin Fields. I mean, we already talked Trey Lance. I mean, it's a is shaping up to be at least a good quarterback group. We don't know, obviously, because we've said this before and with quarterback
Well, they
groups.
said last year was a bad one, no?
Right.
Yeah, because they weren't considering Burrow like this grade A prospect.
Right.
Herbert, a lot of question marks. Tua injury.
So you just never know. But on paper, it's looking like it's supposed to be a good class. So that's also going to factor into Jameis Winston and his market. If I got a chance to potentially draft a younger guy, start fresh, no baggage, I'd rather do that than paying for a guy that has had success, but at the same time has had some bad performances, and that doesn't even talk about the off-field stuff that he's dealt with throughout his career as well. So to me, that's why I think his number is going to be really, low compared to what we would think it should be for him.
But that's probably really good for the Saints.
Oh, it's great for the Saints. Absolutely.
I have a feeling just based off what Peyton has said and kind of what we're feeling is they would be good with him going for the next 2 or 3 years.
I think they would.
Taking the chance.
And he's already familiar with the division. We already talked about that. He can throw. I mean, he can play quarterback. The biggest knock on Jameis is not accuracy. It's not big.
Well, he did
arm.
get that LASIK last year, right?
But that's what they said, get him to 30 for 30, right? Or something like that. No,
I think after the season. It was afterwards.
It was after the season. So, maybe that helped out. Or maybe it made it worse. You never know. Some guys I realized, like, hey, you take your contacts out. You play better without seeing.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just the feel thing.
Right. So to me, I'm just like, man, if you're the Saints, you got Taysom Hill under contract for the next, 2 years. So you're good there. You're going to get Jameis on a steal. You get him on a steal. Jameis already familiar with the division, has already had success. Like I said, his issue was never arm talent. It's more so arrogance at times in terms of where he tries to put the ball at. Man, double coverage, trying to force it. We talked about the conversation even with Ben at times when we just break down like why his numbers from a turnover standpoint are bad at some times. Not ability, more so just arrogance in terms of thinking that, hey, even though it's triple coverage or double coverage, I can make this throw 2 times out of 10 times. But because he made it the one time, he wants to keep making that throw. And ultimately, that's how the interception numbers get gaudy for Jameis. As long as he can get that part of his game out of it, I think that, man, he can still be a really good quarterback. You don't throw for 5,030 touchdowns being a bad quarterback in the NFL. You just don't. So that's why for me, I'm like, if you're the Saints, you got that guy already in-house. I think you use him as your guy, and you still factor in.
Still young, too.
Yes.
26,
absolutely.
maybe? 27, I don't know.
Absolutely. So I'm looking at it like, man, you use him, you still factor in the Taysom Hill element of it. I think that he gives you some things, element of surprise. But
I wonder if he'll try to move out, though, if they don't name him the franchise guy.
He could try, but
I don't know what his market is, though. I don't think anyone's thinking that way about him.
Because the only people that have ever said franchise quarterback have been Sean Payton. Nobody else looks at him that way. So they even paid him in that vicinity, not franchise quarterback money, but they paid him a lot more than his actual position. They paid the player itself, not the position. So with Taysom, it's like you could play the hardball approach of, all right, if you don't let me be the franchise guy at quarterback, I'm leaving. Good luck. Who's picking up that contract for a gadget guy?
I'm not.
I'm not either, right? Nah, I'm cool on that. So I just don't think that his market is going to be that. So yeah, I think you roll with it, man. I think you roll with Jameis, you use Taysom, and you ultimately, man, Mike Thomas. That's the guy that you got to roll with, man. Michael Thomas has to be.
Oh, he's got the contract.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So you just feed the offense through him like you already do. I think it opens up a lot more, though.
And they just gave Kamara
he got extended this offseason. I think you draft. If I'm them, I'm trying to get me another receiver that could take the top off the defense. I feel like that's the one part that they want a little bit more consistently. You get that, and you're good to go, man.
Yeah. What about the game, though? I mean, I think it was just Brady's better than Breeze. The turnovers killed the Saints.
Did you really feel like either quarterback was lighting it up, though?
No, not that specific game, but I think you could tell from Brady. Like I've been saying this for how long, though. I still think he's got it.
Well, I actually want to bet on Brady this year. Yeah, I bet that he would have thrown for over. The bet was set at 4,300, but I thought he was going to throw for over 4,500 yards, which he did. I mean, he blew it away, and that was with him sitting out the second half of a game in Week 16 that he could have easily had even more yardage.
And you talk about that particular game. He made some bad decisions. I think he made some bad throws here and there. But yeah, overall, I don't think the quarterback play was that amazing in that game. But going forward, I still feel good about Brady in the NFC Championship game.
I ain't gonna lie, they both look old to me out there.
Really?
Bro. I'm not gonna lie to you. I was watching. I'm just like, all right.
What do you see with Brady?
I mean, I see touch. The touch is definitely there. Ball placement is there. I don't see a lot of pop with it though, man. It's taking some time to get there.
No.
All right. I can show you two very similar throws. One where you definitely come up here and criticize the heck out of Mason Rudolph for, right? Man, you see the arm strength is just not there. And I said, man, it was Cowboys. And I said, well, he came off the bench. It was cold, and this is what it looked like. And I saw the exact same throw from Brady yesterday. Exact same this hash thrown over there to that hash. And that thing, I'm just like, God, dog, is it there yet? Like, Lord, it's kind of like a little arcing on that thing. Look like Lamar throwing that.
Oh, dude.
But it's cool. I figured you would casually not see that. I mean, that's I would expect that. But I'm just like, bro, both of them look old. Now, Breeze look older, and Brady obviously did enough. And we're not saying, and this is the thing too. I feel like anytime we talk about the Bens, the Bradys, the Breezes, anytime we critique them, anytime we say that they're not who they once were, people view that as you think that they've completely fallen off. I don't think any of them have completely fallen off, but they have all regressed. They have all lost arm strength. They have all lost certain things on their deep balls and things like that. And ultimately for me, man, just watching those two guys yesterday, I just felt like, all right, it's more so the Saints losing this game. Tampa's doing, what they're supposed to do in terms of capitalize on the turnovers, but I never felt watching that Bucs offense like I feel when I watch the Packers offense. Like watching Rodgers in that Packers offense, I'm like, bro, they just
what about
look better.
Teardrop to Godwin in the end zone he dropped?
That's cool.
Dude, I don't know. I still see the throws.
Yeah. You said throws, but you wrote one. That's kind of like when you bring up Benny, you're like, oh, man, he got the deep ball. And it's like, oh, the Deontay one. And it's like, are you going to give me some more? He's like, oh, that was the one, though. It's like, all right, cool. He did it. So, yeah, I got the teardrop. That's cool.
Dude, everyone has some bad throws, though.
I'm not saying they don't. That's your other go-to, man.
What? Everyone does.
Everybody has it. That's cool.
They do. Everyone has
We're not talking about everybody. We're talking about these guys, though.
All right. Yeah, but what about him in particular? My point is, I think he could still win games. He still got it.
Well, no, but that's the thing. Winning games is different than, and I think when you say still got it, you give off the perception that still got it means that he's still Brady. He's not. That's all. But I'd
still take him over, the majority of the league as my quarterback.
Yeah, that's fine.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, all I'm saying is from what I saw, it looked like two old guys playing quarterback, man. If I'm Green Bay, I understand that they got you that first go around, but if I'm Green Bay, I'm excited about this matchup.
Really?
I promise you I am, man.
Okay. I think we're going to disagree on this pick.
If I'm Green Bay, I'm super excited about this matchup. I'm looking at them saying that one they had early in the year, it's a perfect storm. Turnovers happen. Worst performance of Aaron. I mean, we talked about that. We hadn't seen the Packers play that bad all year. I'm not banking on it happening
game. Actually,
again.
Secretly, they had a really bad game against the Jaguars. They did end up winning, but yeah.
But like those were their two ones that stuck out the most. More so because obviously they lost this one was the Jags, and the Jags have played teams tough. We said that the Jags aren't going to do enough. They're not going to beat themselves. You're going to have to execute, but they're going to make it ugly. They're going to make it close. Whereas Tampa, it just got out of hand. I don't see the Packers coming out turning the ball over like that. I don't see the Packers coming out and struggling like that, having miscommunications defensively. I don't see that happening in this matchup. And I just think that it's not close right now in the way Aaron Rodgers is playing compared to what we're seeing from Brady. Me personally.
It's going to be a good one, dude. It's going to be a good one. We got anything else with this game?
Trying to think. Do I have any? Nah. As a whole, I'm excited about it. I think I'm more excited about the AFC games just because obviously we got more at stake. It really doesn't matter if Rodgers or Brady goes to the Super Bowl again because they're not in our division. They're NFC. It's kind of like, all right, cool, congrats. If you're Rodgers, great, you made it back to another one. Hi, welcome to the party. If it's Brady, it's like, it's Brady, you expect it. So it's a little less. You know what I mean? We're not really worried about that game as much.
A little less juice on that one.
You know what I mean? Whereas that AFC one, man. And Mahomes and the Chiefs go back. Oh, man. And they're fans. Oh, man, they're fans. Oh, how could you get behind those? Golly. But I will say this in a lighter note. Shout out to a fan base.
Who?
The Bills Mafia.
You said a fan base.
A fan base, Bills Mafia. And this is why. After the game, we know Lamar Jackson got hurt during the game, right?
I did hear about this.
He went out. So after the game, and the Bills, they actually do this a lot. Shout out to them for this. They decided to raise money and donate on behalf of Lamar Jackson to one of his favorite charities. They ended up, I think they raised $29,000 to date so far. So since the game ended, they raised $29,000 for a charity in honor of Lamar Jackson getting hurt and everything like that. But they did it before with Andy Dalton. When no, seriously,
that one was funny.
Yeah,
though.
But
because Dalton, who they beat to knock out of the playoffs.
It was the Ravens. They knocked them out, and that got the. We were we already in? I think we were already in, but it was them.
Buffalo.
Yeah, it got them in, and they ultimately donated a ton to Andy Dalton's charity. So But they literally, that's what they do. Like, you know, we got some fan bases where, man, the player gets hurt and we're going to badmouth and talk greasy about him. Oh, man, he sucked anyways. That's why he got hurt. And we saw that. We did see that. I'm not going to say which fan bases, but we did see certain fan bases, you know, taking those shots. And it's cool. It's cool.
Who?
It's cool.
You talking about Raptors fans?
I'm just saying in general, man. I think it might have been Jaguar fans. You never know. But either way.
Who are you talking about?
Either way, I'm just simply saying as a whole. Some people, some fan bases root for, you know, if a player gets hurt, playing bad, whatever. But it was good to see Bills Mafia do a good thing, man. Another good thing in terms of taking a negative scenario, raising money for him, and ultimately doing that. That's about the only good that I want to see for Baltimore. You know what I mean? That's about the only good. That's it.
So is that another reason for this week coming up?
Yeah.
Why you're leaning that way?
Because I didn't see the Chiefs do that for when Lamar got hurt. I didn't see the Browns do that for when Mahomes got hurt. I didn't see that either. So, you know, I just felt like if I had to pick a group that seemed just pure at heart, I figured I'd just go with that team.
Okay.
And let's be real. No one wants to see juggernauts. Who likes dynasties? No one wants to, unless it's the Steelers. We don't want to see the Chiefs going back to back. We don't want that. Do you want back to back? You don't care about back. Back to back isn't cool. Now you can be talking about Jordan. You put him in that conversation. Go back to back. Back to back is not cool, baby. Just understand that.
Like I said, I'm not rooting for anyone.
No. You're not rooting for them, but you're rooting against them.
I'm just not rooting for anyone. I'm
I'm
rooting for good ball. I'm rooting for good ball.
Specifically good ball for a specific team, though, right?
I've become highfalutin NFL douchebag.
That's not you, man. That's not you.
I just don't. It's not the Steelers, so I just don't have the emotion. I don't care.
Which area is closer to you, though?
Huh?
Geographically. Geographically, who's closer?
I can't do any
Geographically, who's closer?
I can't do any of this. I can't. None of this appeals to me. I'm telling you.
It's all good. It's all good until you see Mahomes win another Super Bowl back-to-back MVP, and they talk about it's the greatest quarterback we've ever seen, best quarterback in the NFL currently in the past 3 years. And then we're gonna be up here, but Ben, and then we're gonna be like, I can't support Ben right now because this dude in 3 years got 2 Super Bowls, 2 MVPs, a regular season MVP, all in 3 years. This was what's gonna happen if we can't get this portion of it. I'm trying to help you. I'm here for you, Deke.
You're looking out for my arguments
because you know they're gonna be crucifying you, Deke. Who the best quarterback, Deke? Who the best quarterback in the league?
When I come out with my QB rankings,
you know what I mean?
Year.
Right. So let me.
I'm already building my angles up. Trust me. I got the whole offseason. I'm building every angle.
But this is the critical angle. If he goes back to a Super Bowl, that angle, whatever you have drawn up, it could be the triangle offense with Phil Jackson. It's not gonna matter, baby. All right. So we gonna need.
I'm creative.
We're going to need a certain team to lose this weekend and a certain team to win this weekend in the AFC. That's all I'm saying, baby. Okay?
Hey, dude, you do what you got to do, man.
I appreciate that, man. As long as you can come in here and we can look each other in the eyes, shake hands.
I'm good, man. Like I said, I think some people are definitely questioning. I'm not going to lie, I have questioned, but you were bringing some clarity to a bunch of the stuff I was saying.
It's the least I could do, man. It's the least I could do. So, man, it's a 2-hour podcast.
No
Holy
way.
cow. Yes, it is. So
this is legit 2 hours.
Yeah. Well, I don't know how long we were recording before we started recording.
No, this is close.
It's gonna be close, man.
The last few they've been like 140, 150, but this is over the 2-hour limit.
All because of these AFC North teams in the playoffs. That's why, bro. We had to spend a little bit more time talking about these AFC North teams losing and why it was so significant. That's why.
Okay.
So we're good now.
Yeah.
We're good. Go Dukes. Go Dukes. I like it. Let's go. Any hot takes? You good, man?
No, I'm good. All right. Yeah.
All right.
No, I'm good. Definitely.
I like it then. I like it. So, with that being said, we appreciate y'all for tuning in, baby. Yes, indeed. And until next time,
peace.